Chapter 352. The sun shone through the clouds, and the mountains in the distance were enchanting. The smoke from the chimney accompanied the crowing of the rooster, and the sky cleared up early after the rain. Early in the morning, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan begged their family to bring along 10 guards from the prince's mansion, as well as the former bailiffs who were chased away because of disobedience. These bailiffs were obviously better than the ones who stayed behind, and they were more serious in their work. Because of this, they were chased away. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan adopted the principle of using capable people. Those who were not of good quality could be helped to improve, and those who were too rigid would be used where rigidity was needed. A group of people rode on horses and jogged to Yawang Mountain, which was officially named. Some of the local people who didn't need to harvest wheat and those who came from other places were continuing to build roads on the mountain. The old people who couldn't do heavy work were also busy weaving baskets. These baskets were originally made by the old people of their own accord. After all, they were eating together. Zhong Zhong still spent money to buy them. He was fast at weaving baskets a day, but he only made 2 or 3 baskets. He bought one for 1 copper coin each. There was a person who specifically counted baskets on the side. He didn't even check if the baskets were solid or not. There was no need to check. The old people didn't weave baskets for money, and the ones doing the work were their relatives. If something happened because the baskets were not good, the unlucky ones would be their relatives. They ate well here, but there were some old people who felt bad and always falsely reported the number. They made up 3 baskets and insisted that it was 2. One of the baskets had already been counted, and the person who counted them watched them like they were thieves. It was absolutely impossible to underreport. Therefore, there were often disputes over whether a basket was counted or not. It was very strange. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came, there was a time when the person who was the fastest at weaving baskets was usually able to weave 4 baskets a day. After weaving a few more baskets every day, these days, he actually sent 7 baskets and asked the person to count 4. The person who counted them was not a fool and insisted on counting 7 baskets. The old man was unwilling, saying that he used to weave 4 baskets a day. How could he possibly weave 7 baskets? They began to argue with each other. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan understood the situation, they were dumbfounded. The world was so big, nothing was too strange. Xiaobao, why does it look a bit like the gentleman's country? Wang Wan looked at the 2 people arguing and said to Zhang Xiaobao with a smile. Zhang Xiaobao looked at Wang Wan blankly. What's Mirror Flower Fate? It's a novel. It says that a person goes to a certain place and sees different things. The country of gentlemen eats one of them. The people there buy and sell. The seller will give the best goods for the least amount of money. The buyer will take the worst goods for the highest price. At first, I only thought that this was a novel full of loopholes and did not match reality. Today, I saw that this kind of thing really exists. The people want to give in, but the officials are not willing. If the people and officials of the Great Tang can be like this, if they are more united and diligent in martial arts, then the entire world will belong to the Great Tang. Wang Wan looked at the 2 people pulling at each other as if they were fighting. They were fighting for 3 more baskets and 3 less baskets. Zhang Xiaobao also smiled. If that's the case, society will never improve. Only competition can lead to development. It's just human nature. People who can do this show that they know what the 8 ends are. Filial piety, friendship, loyalty, trust, propriety, righteousness, integrity, and shame. The things that the people can do, the officials who are knowledgeable may not be able to do. There should be a difference between internal and external. Look at the dishes for lunch today. Wang Wan sighed and pulled Zhang Xiaobao to the kitchen. The 2 of them did not want to care about the dispute. They just treated it as a kind of entertainment. Otherwise, their days would be too dull. Before the 2 of them got close, a strong smell of cucumber entered their nose. When they smelled it again, it was still the smell of cucumber. When they got closer, there were also chives, bamboo shoots, and a small amount of eggs. Looking at the staple food, it was some millet. From the color, it could be seen that it was old rice. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan immediately frowned. The vegetables looked good, but at this time, the cucumbers had already been harvested. It was the time when they were the least valuable. It was not a big deal to eat these usually, but now, it was time to do heavy work. Eating only vegetables and some eggs could not make up for the consumption of the body. Every day, the food was arranged. There was meat and vegetables. Where did the meat go? Zhang Xiaobao's face darkened. He gave Erniu a look. Erniu understood and immediately shouted, "Where is the person in charge? Come here. Here, here. Are you looking for me?" The person in charge was chatting with the basket weaver. When he heard the call, he ran over and asked, "I'm looking for you. Where is the meat?" Erniu pointed to the place where the dishes were being cooked. The person in charge knew Erniu's identity and thought that something big had happened. Seeing that it was this person who asked, he was relieved and replied, "The meat was fried when it was delivered in the morning. It was placed in the jar next to it. It was waiting to be eaten in the evening and at midnight. Now, we eat 4 meals a day, morning, noon, and night, plus a midnight snack." Erniu went over and opened the jar. There was indeed fried meat inside. He did not know what to say. It seemed that there was no food for the working people. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not see it that way. What did it mean to eat a meal in the middle of the night? Zhang Xiaobao pretended to be curious and asked, "Is it because you can't sleep at night, so you get up and eat a meal?" "That's right. What's there to eat at night?" Erniu also found the problem. The person in charge sighed, "It's hot now. After they eat dinner, they rest for a while. They will work until 1 a.m., then eat another meal and sleep. They will wake up before 7 a.m. and continue to work. They said that they can't take so much money for nothing." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finally understood. It was high-intensity work, so they ate 4 meals a day. However, this meal did not look good. This time, Wang Wan spoke, "This meal is delicious, right? I'll try it later." "That's right. Why is this rice stale?" Only a clever person like Erniu, who usually interacted with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan more often, knew what it meant. If it was someone else, they would not be able to ask such a simple question. The person in charge knew that more work was better for the people, so he had to continue to explain, "This rice was sent by Registrar Jean. Oh, it was sent by Jean Wendy. When it was sent, it was good rice. The people here used good rice and exchanged it for stale rice. It's about the same. You can eat until you're full. If you exchange it for 3 batches, you can eat until you're full." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sighed at the same time. They really did not know how to describe the thoughts in their hearts. It was so simple. He worked more and took less advantage. If you treated him better, he would always remember. "What should we do?" Wang Wan's lips moved. "Let's wait and see." Zhang Xiaobao could not ask for more dishes at this time. He thought that the people who came to work would not agree. He could only make up for it elsewhere. If they ate 4 meals a day, there would be meat for 2 meals and eggs for lunch. It was still okay. It was just that the rest time was shorter. After eating the last meal, they would only sleep for about 7 hours. Doing physical work and resting for such a short period of time was a behavior that overdrew vitality in advance. "It's okay. You can do your work." Seeing that the young master and young lady did not continue to ask anything, Erniu held hands and walked forward. He said something to the person in charge and asked the guards to follow. The person in charge thought for a while and also followed behind. He knew the identity of the 2 little ancestors. If they were to ask something out of curiosity, he would have to run over. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan walked all the way to the place where the work was done. There was no need for others to urge them. Even the newcomers worked hard without the slightest intention of being lazy. The weather was hot, and many people had taken off their shirts, swinging shovels and pickaxes. Beside them was a river. The flow was similar to that of the pier, but it was even slightly larger. A small river branched out, leading to this place. It was so clear that one could see the bottom. It seems that the formation of the lake in the future is due to this river. Originally, this place was a little sunken. As long as there is a little natural disaster, such as an earthquake, the river will change its course and become a lake. Zhang Xiaobao observed the surrounding terrain and whispered to Wang Wan. Wang Wan also agreed. She walked to the side of the river, squatted down, and touched it with her hand. It was cool and had a soft feeling. Why don't we let them make a lake here after the mountain road is built? Our family also needs to earn some benefits. We can't give away all the benefits. I also plan to do so. Moreover, rowing the boat back and forth on the lake and setting up some herbal medicine stalls by the lake is also a long-term income. Let the local people do it. Zhang Xiaobao also thought that it should be so. In the future, if they raised some fish in the lake, they could fish when they had nothing to do. Tourists would like it more. When they cooked the fish, they could let people add some herbs and make a medicinal diet, which could promote Yawang Mountain. While the two of them were talking, one of the workers accidentally stepped on air and fell from a steep place. While everyone was shocked, he hung in the air again. The person in charge patted his chest. Without waiting for the little ancestor to ask curiously, he took the initiative and said, "Those who work in dangerous places will have a rope tied to their bodies. Even if they accidentally fall, they are not afraid." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew this. They were the ones who suggested it. Human life was more important than heaven. The man was pulled up and went down. He squatted by the river and washed the mud off his body and the wounds he had just made. Finally, he wiped his face with water and looked at the people around him with a smile. He said, "It's okay. I feel much better after washing up." After he finished speaking, he stood up and went back to work. The others laughed and made fun of him. Some of the people who were sweating also came over to wash up. They scooped up the water in their hands and splashed it directly on their bodies. With a little rub, the mud balls were knocked off and bounced into the water. With someone taking the lead, the others also came to wash. The water, which was originally clear, became muddy after they washed. In addition to the mud and sand when they washed, they were too dirty. This kind of behavior was naturally not lazy. In the cool weather, they worked faster. Zhang Xiaobao looked and suddenly said to Wang Wan, "I know what to do. Even if I sleep less, it can relieve fatigue." Chapter 353. Wang Wan was also thinking of ways to improve the lives of the people working. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao say this, she immediately widened her eyes and waited for him to tell her. "It's Yawang Mountain. We can't lack medicine. It's not Huaqing Pool. There's no hot spring. We can make a pool for them to bathe in. We don't know what Chinese medicine to put in, but someone will." When Zhang Xiaobao saw others bathing, he thought of bathing in the pool. Not only could they wash off the dust on their bodies, but they could also relieve fatigue. They could also apply some Chinese medicine to disinfect and treat some diseases. "Yes, that's right. Xiaobao, you're right. Let's build a bathhouse for them and massage each other. Their fatigue will be reduced by a lot. Immediately go back and ask your father to fork out money from the yeoman's account." When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's idea, she immediately agreed. In the future, they would look around to see if there were any hot springs. There should be many hot springs around. In a place like Shaanxi, as long as they dug deep enough, they would be able to find hot springs. Because of the geology, they could also build one at home. The sauna that was mentioned a while ago had not been built yet. They used the Mai Fan stone to build one at home. It was the same on the other side of the mountain. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. "We can't use the county's money. We'll fork out the money. First, we'll try to build a few at the foot of the mountain and let people think about it. When the time comes, we'll build it on the mountain. If the yamen is built, who will earn the money in the end? We also need to find a professional for the massage. Let's practice on the people who are working first. When the time comes, we can also charge for it. So that's how it is. Then in the future, we can't just build big ponds, we have to build small ones. Each person has a different position. The higher the status, the more money we pay, and the better the ponds. Xiaobao, what you're doing is immoral. You're making people use the workers to practice." Wang Wan agreed to the first part, but she was a little conflicted about the second part. How is it immoral? Isn't it the same if they massage each other? Find those doctors or medical students to do this. The doctors can also do scraping, cupping, and acupuncture. When they aren't confident, let the doctors and medical students do it first. To them, their excuse was to study medicine. Wasn't it good to have someone to let them experiment? He could teach his disciples, and in the process, he could discover some diseases in the living people. When treating them, the Yaman would take care of the medicine, and it would be beneficial to the people who worked. When he went up the mountain in the future, he would let them take care of him. They would provide him with a bath, a massage, and cupping. It wouldn't be expensive to charge 100 copper coins for a set, right? If we sell some medicine, it will probably be a source of income. Zhang Xiaobao suddenly thought of the doctors at the docks. There would be more of them coming. Wang Wan was no longer conflicted. It was indeed the case. It didn't matter who pressed. Under the guidance of others, it was much better than these people pressing each other. They must have pressed where they were sore and were not professional enough. Thinking of doctors, Wang Wan also thought of the inheritance of medical skills. Now, most people were learning by hand. This was a little slow for medical skills to spread. She nudged Zhang Xiaobao. Should we print some of Sun Simiao's books? We can give them to the doctors for free, but they have to help us do something. I think this is a good idea. We don't need movable type. We can just let people carve plates. We can print more at one time and collect all of Sun Simiao's books. In the future, we still need movable type. Otherwise, we can't afford to carve them. If there is someone with high medical skills and comments something, we can't carve it again and again. Movable type is good. Let's make a mold first and reprint it again and again. We can leave more for reprinting. When the lead is melted, we can pour it in. We can make the words bigger so that the ink is not good and it is tiring to dip the ink. Zhang Xiaobao also agreed to print. It was too tiring to just copy by hand. It couldn't satisfy the doctors who came. At first, they wanted to carve plates, but later, they felt that they should use movable type. Wang Wan reached out and pinched Zhang Xiaobao's face. You are usually very smart. Why are you so confused now? Who said that you can't add comments to the plates? The original plates can be used, right? Can't you just carve another plate with comments? Put the two plates together and make the paper bigger. Then, it will be the original book with comments. It is not easy to study movable type and it is tiring. You should let people think about it first and print Sun Simiao's book as soon as possible. This is a serious matter. You can't eat one mouthful and get fat. That's fine too. Let's do it. Zhang Xiaobao agreed. What do you mean by fine too? I have thought about it thoroughly. Wang Wan emphasized her ability. Those people were still working. They didn't know that because of their efforts, someone thought of better benefits for them. Erniu, who was the closest to them, heard their conversation. He knew that the little young master and little young lady were kind. They were always the kind of people who were good to each other. If they were not good to each other, they would give them another chance. If they were not good to each other, they would not talk about using thunderous means. They could feel sad for a child who was not eating well, but they could also look at a person who was killed and not change their expression. When he talked with his master, he mentioned that officials could give him some benefits when the lives of the people under their rule were better. However, he absolutely disliked the idea of being greedy when the people were not able to eat. An official who was greedy and could let the people live a good life was better than an official who could not do anything and could only suffer together with the people. Erniu could not understand. The two were almost extreme. Yes, they were extreme. According to what the little young master and little young lady said, why would two extreme things appear in one person? Erniu, why are you in a daze? You have another mission. Go there and bring back more my fan stones. Bring more money and buy more seafood. If you can buy a place with my fan stones, that would be even better. When you find a wife in the future, we will definitely arrange a decent wedding for you. Zhang Xiaobao just called Erniu, but Erniu did not respond. Ah! If I leave, what will happen here? Erniu was a little worried as he accompanied the two little ancestors. We can't live without you. Find someone smarter in the inner court. My father is an official. Tomorrow, Cuckoo and I will come out with a guard of honor. There will be 20 horse-drawn carriages with canopies and umbrellas. There will be people holding signs in front. Along the way, yellow sand will pave the road, and still water will sprinkle the streets. When the civil officials see it, they will get off the sedan chair, and when the military officials see it, they will dismount. What do you think? Zhang Xiaobao joked with Erniu. Erniu also laughed. I will be beheaded. I will leave now. Little young master and little young lady, you two be careful. This is not like Sanshui County. After talking, Erniu mounted the horse and left. Only he knew about this matter. It was impossible for others to be involved. Just like how Pomegranate was in charge of the loyal fungus, Cherries was in charge of the hatching of the chicks, and Xiao Hong did not tell others about the adjustment of the feeding recipe. After Erniu left, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan continued to stroll leisurely. The road leading to the mountain had been built for more than 200 meters. Baskets of soil and stones were carried down, and some wood was carried up and nailed to the side. When the time came to pull the rope, there was no need to worry about anyone falling down. At the same time, they had to walk among the children and the elderly, listen to them chat, play with the children for a while, and ask them if they wanted to study. The two of them also carefully looked at the younger children. When they returned, they would ask their father to find someone to teach them how to take care of children and set up a kindergarten. They did not expect to learn too much, as long as they could take good care of the children. They stayed until lunchtime. Then the two of them washed their hands and prepared to eat together. For lunch, there was no stew. When there was meat, it was stewed. Scrambled eggs with cucumber slices, scrambled eggs with chives, and sweet and sour slices. These 3 dishes were really good, but there was not enough oil. The two of them each had a bowl of small rice. They ate the dishes with extra eggs. That was the disadvantage of the small rice. It cooled down slowly, and they had to blow on it while eating. The people were already used to the county magistrate eating here. They also knew that the two children were not picky and did not have the slightest restraint when eating. In the afternoon, the two of them continued to observe the terrain and prepared to repair the lake. Because Erniu went to greet them, another clever person was sent over. He was 17 years old and had been living in the main family. There were also 3 generations of his family. He usually did things quickly and did not cause trouble, so he was sent over. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also knew each other. His name was Zhang Xiongru, a man who gave a woman a name. No one knew what he was thinking at that time. As soon as Zhang Xiongru arrived, he said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "When I came, Master said that you two should go back quickly. The ship cannot be delayed." "Oh, I know." "Then let's go. In fact, it's not a big deal. The purpose of life is to enjoy. When the arrangements are made, just wait. We can't think about it all day." Zhang Xiaobao stretched. He had just finished eating and was sleepy. He and Wang Wan went to the river to wash their faces and cool down. Then, they rode back on the horse. A group of guards carefully followed around, afraid that the two little ancestors would fall asleep while riding. When the two of them returned to the yamen, Zhang Zhong was there dealing with the people who came to report to the yamen. It was not a big deal. The number of people who were arrested a few days ago had reached 400. Those who were not killed were all sent to the road repair site to work. After dealing with an old lady who had a lot of mice in her house and asked the adults to think of a way to get a few kittens, Zhang Zhong could finally rest for a while. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan just happened to come back. "Xiaobao, the news just came in this morning. Those people are staying in the first house in Linshui. The letter has also been delivered. What should we do next? I'll leave this matter to you. I still have to deal with the government affairs." Zhang Zhong called Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to the study. He decided not to care about the people on the boat. Recently, there were more people coming, so there were more trivial matters. In the past, the people would think of their own ways. Now, as long as they were close to the yamen, they would come to ask. There were all kinds of things happening. Chapter 354. After the imperial examinations, all the scholars who passed were overjoyed. Those who didn't and those who wanted to take the examinations next year stayed in the capital. These people immediately caused the capital to become much more lively. After the imperial examinations, the brothels and restaurants everywhere became places they frequented. They would either drink alone or invite 3 to 5 friends to drink to their heart's content. The rich were naturally easy to deal with. They could spend as much as they wanted. However, those who didn't have a lot of money, and even those who were poor, found that if they didn't think of a way, they wouldn't be able to wait until next year. Every time this happened, there would always be people who sent invitations to the various residences. They wanted to be a teacher for the people in the residences, or at least become an advisor. However, there were too many people in the imperial examinations this year. Only a small portion of people obtained such a position. The rest of the people had no other choice but to write letters or copy books. Even more people would go to the brothels and help recite a poem or two. They would eat and play for free. Perhaps they would even be appreciated by the brothels and be given some money. However, if the poem wasn't good, then no one would care. Those who were thin-skinned would think of a way to make a living. Those who were thick-skinned would follow beside the rich scholars and help them grind ink, pass the brush, and wait for them to finish writing before flattering them. There were also some that had nothing to do with being thick-skinned. Instead, the rich young masters would do such things for the poor people, admiring talent. There were also some people who had good relationships with each other. Regardless of whether they were rich or poor, they ate, drank, and slept together. They talked about the big and small classics and talked about poetry. All of this showed the various states of life. Happiness and melancholy intertwined together. Life was just repeating these things. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao was busy dealing with the people on the boats, so he still had time to think about this matter. The Zhang family once again made their move. On Vermilion Bird Avenue, when the sun had just risen in the morning, a procession appeared. The entire procession was made up of 20 carriages. Originally, the carriages were used to carry goods, but large signs were erected on both sides. There were large words written on the signs. This wasn't for the common people who didn't know how to read, but for the scholars. As a result, the calligraphy was flamboyant and flamboyant. There were also some landscape paintings, accompanied by the sound of gongs and drums. The grand procession slowly moved from one end to the other. 20 carriages lined up in a row. It was difficult not to attract attention. The commoners were curious. Since they couldn't read, they could only ask around. Those who could read started to tell the people around them. "Xiao Qing, I heard that you got into the 2nd grade exam this time. What did you write? Read it to your auntie. It looks really good." In the capital, a female shopkeeper asked a man who was sitting by the window and eating when the procession passed by her. This man was around 25 or 26 years old. He had taken the Bright Classics examination this year and had passed. His position was a little behind, but he was still a secondary class, rank 8 official. The people who knew him in the past were more respectful when they saw him. Only this female shopkeeper in the shop was the same as before. She kept calling him Xiao Qing, but he didn't feel angry at all. All these years, the money for his studies was all given by this female shopkeeper. He only had one mother at home, so he couldn't make ends meet. If it wasn't for this female shopkeeper, he wouldn't have been able to study. He would have been lucky if he didn't starve to death. He didn't want to and didn't dare to disrespect this female shopkeeper. When he heard the question, he respectfully said, "Auntie, this is prepared for some students. It said that Huayuan County and Sanshui County are going to hold a competition and invite all the scholars from all over. They can help Huayuan County or Sanshui County. The side that wins the most will get the first prize of this competition. This prize is given to everyone. Also, everyone who gets first place will get a good prize. They will be selected one by one, just like the imperial examinations." After saying this, the man stopped and waited for the female shopkeeper's reaction. "Oh, so it's like this." Xiao Qing, are you going? What's the prize? The female shopkeeper looked at Xiao Qing and asked. Starting from 10 days later, all the students can go by boat without spending money as long as they take out their documents. The meals for the next few days will be taken care of by the 2 counties. First, you have to tell which county you are going to help. Then, you can board the boat of that county. I will ask later if I have any work to do in 10 days. If I do, I can't go. If I don't, I can go and have a look. The prize is worth a lot of money. The first place of a single person will get a set of the 4 treasures of Black Bamboo Pavilion. It costs 50 strings of silver. That's the one that everyone has. It's also a set of the 4 treasures of Black Bamboo Pavilion. However, it's the last one. It costs 50 strings of silver. Xiao Qing explained in detail. He was a little tempted. He felt that it was better to compete than to stay in the capital. It was not far away. The female shopkeeper nodded and asked again, "What else is there?" Also, the 2 counties will be recruiting teachers at the same time. It will only last until the imperial examinations next year. Depending on the professor, the teachers will get 40 to 100 strings of silver per month. The food and lodging will be taken care of by the Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi. There will be meat for 1 meal every day, and there will be holidays every 10 days. Xiao Qing explained another thing. He didn't care about this, but those who couldn't make a living should consider it. The Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi? Are you talking about the Zhang family and Wang family in Sanshui County? The female shopkeeper didn't pay much attention to other things, but she knew about the 2 Zhuangzi. Xiao Qing nodded. It's the 2 Zhuangzi. If it was someone else, no one would believe it. But the words of the 2 Zhuangzi are naturally not ordinary. It seems that people like me have a place to go now. No matter what, eating and sleeping is not a big problem. Xiao Qing was right. Now, there were many students on the streets who had spent their money and didn't know what to do. They were preparing to work in the 2 counties. Of course, they also wanted to participate in the competition. They could choose one of the 2 opportunities. As long as they were on the right team, they would get a lot of money. To them, this was not a small sum. They could save up the money and spend this year without any worries. Next year, they would be able to take the imperial examinations again. In addition to those who wanted to find something to do, those who were rich also wanted to participate. It wasn't for the reward, but fame. If people remembered them, they would have some fame in the future. Otherwise, why would they insist on treating others to a meal? They drank all day and had a splitting headache. Wasn't it just to be famous? The sound of gongs and drums was not small. Even people who had a hangover last night would be awakened by the noise as long as they were on the 2 sides of the Vermilion Bird Avenue. Some officials' mansions were also here. When they heard the noise outside, they asked the servants in their mansions to investigate. When they returned, they said that it was a matter of 2 counties and involved the Zhang family and Wang family. Many people pretended that this matter didn't happen. Only a few people complained. Some people praised this matter. These people were basically wholeheartedly devoted to the country and the people. They knew what was involved in this matter. The students who were in dire straits could finally settle down. In addition to the attention of these students, there were also some businessmen and families who lacked manpower in their mansions. The businessmen wanted to go to the competition venue to take a look. It would be better if they could sell something. If they couldn't, perhaps they could find a talented person and betroth their daughters to him. The families who lacked manpower were naturally unable to judge the number of invitations sent by so many students. They didn't look for people, not because they didn't want people, but because they didn't know how talented they were. Those invitations might have been written by others. At this time, knowing that there was going to be a competition, they sent people from their mansions. Countless students, as long as they competed, they would naturally know who was good and who wasn't. At that time, they would recruit people, even if it cost more. This was also the purpose that Zhang Xiaobao wanted to achieve. He wanted more people to pay attention to the 2 counties. He and Wang Wan had already set off. They took a boat and went to Little Luoshui. Today was the second day that those businessmen stayed in the first house near the water. Fast horses passed back and forth. After all, it would take some time, so it was better to go there in person. The two of them set off from the dock of Huayuan County. On the way to between the clouds and the water, they didn't receive much attention. But when they arrived between the clouds and the water, when the people there saw the two rice seedling flags on the boat, they directly sent a boat to welcome them. This is the real home. In this small piece of land, we finally don't have to worry. Wang Wan saw the boat coming and said with relief, "Yes, this is our home field. If we go further, the people on the boat will have less to worry about." Zhang Xiaobao also relaxed. He looked at the restaurants and waved his hand vigorously at the ships that were coming towards him. Immediately, there was a wave of greetings on the boat. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's boat joined the boat between the clouds and the water, the people in the restaurant between the clouds and the water who could see this place were all shocked. What a big show! Even the Marquis's escort boat was surrounded. There were only 2 children on the bow of a small boat, but so many people were alarmed. On the boat that greeted them, there were even managers of restaurants. Those who knew the situation could only sigh at the power of the Zhang family and Wang family here. Those who didn't know the situation asked the waiter. The waiter's answer was simple. The people on the boat were the young master and young lady of the main family. As long as they weren't stupid, they would know who the main family was. After passing the restaurant between the clouds and the water, when Zhang Xiaobao looked at his home again, he found that it was different from when he left. It was really like what he thought at the beginning. The two of them only learned about it in the letter, but they didn't see it with their own eyes. If it weren't for my father's urging, I would go back and stay for a few days and play with the children on Zhuangzi. When I move in the future, I must bring them with me. It's comfortable to look at them. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't intend to keep a low profile at this time. The main family's people came here not only to show their dignity, but also to show their recognition of this place. Chapter 355. When the flag formed by the 2 rice seedlings appeared in the eyes of some of the villagers, they all ran toward the small bridge and shouted from a distance, "Stop the boat!" Following Zhang Xiaobao's order, the boat stopped right below the bridge. If it went forward a bit more, it would enter the bridge. Once the boat stopped, the people upstream and downstream who didn't know the situation all broke out in a cold sweat for the boat. They knew the rules. On the entire river, from Jingdo all the way to Dingping County, as long as you felt the boat could stop steadily, then it could stop anywhere. However, it could not stop at this small bridge. One reason was that the bridge was smaller than other bridges and could only allow 2 boats to pass through. If one boat stopped, it would delay the boat behind it. The other reason was that it was not allowed to stop. The reason was that it was not allowed. As long as a boat slowed down a bit, there would be bailiffs on the shore who would rush over with bows and arrows, aiming at all suspicious places around them. Especially in the water, there would be people patrolling along the shore with spears. There were a few people who stopped to look at the scenery, but they were all fined and taken to the yamen of Sanshui County for questioning. In the end, they found out that they were just looking at the scenery, but they were still warned not to look at the scenery at the small bridge next time. The people on Zhuangzi understood that that position happened to be a blind spot for the hidden sentries on Zhuangzi. They couldn't see anything, so no boats were allowed to stop. They couldn't even go slower than normal. However, there was a boat that stopped today. The 2 children on the boat were still waving their hands, as if they didn't know the rules at all. When a boat stopped, the other boats would give way to each other and move to the other side. At this time, they were probably moving slowly, wanting to see what would happen to the 2 unlucky children on the boat. As expected, the bailiffs guarding this side took out their bows and rushed over on their horses. The villagers on Zhuangzi also rushed over. There was a kind-hearted person on the boat following behind. He shouted at the boat that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were on, "Hurry up and go to the front to wait for the bailiffs. Don't move. Otherwise, the bailiffs will really shoot. Don't provoke them." After shouting this, he muttered, "Whose child is this? Why did he cause trouble for the adults? All right, let's go to the yamen and talk." The other boats had the same thought. Seeing that the people on both sides had gathered together, a shocking scene appeared in front of them. First, the bailiffs put away their bows and dismounted from their horses. At the same time, the villagers who ran over did not hold any weapons in their hands and stood there respectfully. "Greetings, young master. Greetings, young lady." Their voices, which were not too different from each other, rang out beside the ears of the people on the boats. Zhang Xiaobao was still waving his arms and shouting to the villagers, "Good, my family is good. When we change places, we will take you with us." Cheers rang out from the villagers once again. The bailiffs who dismounted from their horses also stood on the shore. The person in the lead stepped forward and clasped his hands. Song Yang, on behalf of the brothers, greets young master and young lady. "Young master, is everything okay with the master?" "Good. Last night, my father was talking about the brothers in Sanshui County. He said that if the people in Huaiyuan County had the ability of the bailiffs in Sanshui County, it would save him a lot of trouble and he would be more considerate." Zhang Xiaobao turned around and shouted at the bailiffs. These bailiffs didn't cheer like the villagers. They stood straight and puffed out their chests as much as they could to let the young master and young lady see their graceful bearing. Zhang Xiaobao had already winked at Zhang Xiongru many times. Unfortunately, Zhang Xiongru was not as experienced as Erniu and did not know what the young master meant. Zhang Xiaobao had no choice but to speak by himself. "Cuckoo and I are going to Little Lo Shui, so we can't talk to you anymore. When we come back, we will stay here for 2 days. Farewell, young master. Farewell, young lady." A clever villager took the lead and shouted. The others, including the bailiffs, also followed suit and shouted. As Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's boat passed through the bridge, the bailiffs were arranged to ride horses and follow the boat on both sides. Those who were anxious for the 2 children or waiting to watch the show were all dumbfounded. Who was so arrogant? Not only did the boat stop at the small bridge, but the villager and bailiffs who came over were also so respectful. "I know who they are. They are the young master and young lady of Zhang family and Wang family." No wonder. The people on one of the ships knew a little more. Thinking of the situation just now, they immediately guessed what kind of person could be treated like this. The people on the other boats suddenly realized that they were in their own home, so they could stop. No one dared to say anything even if the bridge was torn down. The bailiff's reaction was not strange. The entire Sanshui County was the territory of the Zhang family and Wang family, and the bailiffs were supported by them. The people who were worried about the 2 children were relieved. Those who were waiting to watch the show did not dare to say anything, in case the villager and bailiffs heard them. At that time, they would be the ones to be arrested. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan continued to ride the boat forward. They looked at Zhang Xiongru at the same time and felt that this newcomer was not easy to use. They did not know how long it would take for her to reach the level of Erniu. Although the boat looked shabby on the outside, the structure inside was different from other boats. The space was bigger and the water was deeper. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were ready to go in and rest, so that they could deal with the following situation. Unexpectedly, the people patrolling on the water also came over. The 2 boats were one in front and one behind. The bailiffs on the boats only had knives on their waists. They did not see bows and arrows. People who did not know the situation thought that these 2 boats did not have any fighting power. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that the weapons on the boats were definitely illegal. No matter how high the status of Sanshui County was, it was impossible to allow the use of strong crossbows. It was a little smaller than the ones used to attack cities. It could only shoot 3-4-foot-long arrows at a time, and the string was half twisted. When necessary, it could be pushed out and twisted twice. On this river, such a crossbow was almost invincible. The 2 boats also found the boat with the flag of 2 rice seedlings and quickly approached. When the bailiffs on the boat saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan standing at the bow of the boat, they immediately saluted as before. The person on the boat at the front asked, "Little master, little miss, where are you going?" "Let's go to Little Luo Shui to have a look," Zhang Xiaobao said to Zhang Xiongru after seeing that it was useless. "Then little master and little miss, take care." The person on the boat responded. The two boats passed by the small boat one after another. Who knew that as soon as they passed by, they changed direction and followed closely behind. "Xiao Bao, you have been enjoying this kind of treatment in the past, right? Do you feel very calm?" Wang Wan saw the boats behind them and asked Zhang Xiaobao. "Yes, calm. I am also calm when there is a rumbling sound. Don't you think it should be like this? I don't believe that you haven't accepted any bribes." Zhang Xiaobao also saw the two boats behind them. They were supposed to be patrolling, but at this time, they were following behind to protect him. When he heard Wang Wan's question, he replied. Wang Wan thought for a while and said, "I really haven't accepted any bribes. I only accepted a cigarette and 2 fish. I couldn't eat them, so I threw them away. You can't guess what kind of cigarettes they gave me. It was a hardcover Hercules. The price was 3 yuan and 5 yuan a box. I don't smoke, so they bullied me." "A single fish? How much money is that?" "A box is 2,000 yuan, and there are 10 boxes of 1 fish. That's 100,000 yuan. 1 fish is 2 eyes, and 1 eye is 100,000 yuan. 2 fish is 400,000 yuan. You threw them all away? Amazing." Zhang Xiaobao also cupped his fist and said to Wang Wan. Wang Wan was stunned. "What do you mean? What else could it mean?" If you open the box, you'll find that there are 20 rolls of 500 yuan in each box. 1 box is 10,000 yuan, and 1 fish is 100,000 yuan. Starting from the gills under the eyes, there is a line of money. If I'm not wrong, the fish should be about 2 feet long. 2 fish means 400,000 yuan for you. What's the case? What kind of case is this? Zhang Xiaobao knew a lot about this. 100 years ago, he gave 100 yuan as a gift. Later on, it was 500 yuan each. He gave them as cigarettes. It was a very old method, but it was usually very useful. For example, filling a bottle of erguo with Mao Tai was a national banquet. Unfortunately, they met a special person and threw them away. When checking whether the fish was bad or not, why didn't they check the eyes and break the gills? Wang Wan finally understood. I know what is going on. But they are fine. Why did they give me gifts? And so expensive. Isn't it up to you whether they are fine or not? How would they know? Fortunately, you accepted them. If you didn't, someone might have a heart attack. Just like the boat behind us, if you ask them to go back now, they might not be able to recover for a few days or even longer. They will always think that the Zhang family and Wang family are not satisfied with them. Zhang Xiaobao told Wang Wan about this psychological need and comfort. I understand now. So that's how it is. It seems that sometimes accepting gifts is also helping others, right? No wonder they accepted so much money from us. It turns out that they are helping us. The people Wang Wan was referring to were those who had been with Zhang Zhong when he was taking the imperial examination. Zhang Xiaobao just smiled at this and didn't say anything. The boat continued to move forward. After a while, they encountered 2 patrol boats. The 2 boats behind immediately turned around and headed in the direction between the clouds and the water. These 2 boats seemed to have contacted the boat that left. After passing by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's boat, they also turned around and followed behind. Wang Wan didn't say anything at this time. Since others wanted to get a kind of recognition, she would give it to them. Zhang Xiaobao yawned and went into the cabin first. Wang Wan looked around and followed him. Xiaobao, do you think they will really do what you said? Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao lying on the blanket. She moved 2 pillows over and threw one to Zhang Xiaobao. Chapter 356. The First House in Lin Shui. The ship merchants were still in the room where they ate the day before. It was not because they were rich. Even if they were rich, they still had to line up to get a room on the 4th floor of the first house in Lin Shui. It was because between the clouds and the water had attracted too many people recently, causing some people here to be unable to afford the rooms on the 4th floor of the first house. Don't be fooled by the fact that the merchants of the ship seemed to be rich and overbearing. When it came to small amounts of money, they would never relax, even to the point where it would make people's hair stand on end. When they used this room, they calculated the price of the food and the price of the time. When they ate, they would definitely be stuck until the last quarter. As long as they finished eating, they would not continue to take care of the room. When other rich people came, they would directly pay for a day or even half a month. According to the amount of 500 copper coins per hour, even if they did not come, the room would still be reserved for them. The ship merchants would take the room if they had it, but not if they did not. They would definitely not pay when they did not eat. At this time, they were very lucky to meet a time when they were not willing to spend money and eat in this room. Brother Wei Tong, should we wait for them to finish talking and then block the waterway from the Jing River to the Luo Shui River? The little Luo Shui River also uses the Luo Shui River. It's good to settle there. They still want to do things with us. They want us to stop the big boat there and then let the small boat transport it. They also want us to discuss with the people of Luochuan County and jointly build a pier there. Are they stupid? If we just block the place where the Jing River enters the Luo Shui River, what can they do? Guo Ren seemed to have drunk some wine before coming here. When he spoke, his tongue was not straight. It was awkward no matter how one listened to it. Fortunately, his mind was still clear. Mi Fan's face was gloomy. He naturally knew where Guo Ren went. It was the only brothel behind the little Luo Shui pier. That brothel was opened by a person in the capital. Even the most ordinary woman would cost 5 strings of money a night. Some of them sold their skills but not their bodies. No amount of money could buy them, and they also covered their faces with veils. It was said that the rent of this brothel was 20 times higher than other places. All the food and drinks had to be prepared by the first brothel in Linshui. Similarly, the price was 20 times higher. Otherwise, they could just sit there and chat with the veiled women or listen to music. No one would do that. There was a pile of food in front of a girl. She could eat a little when she was resting. She couldn't afford to give you a cup of plain water. It seemed that Guo Ren had spent a lot of money today. A few dozen copper coins to listen to a new song was not considered little. A few hundred copper coins to chat with a beauty and listen to the sound of the zither was also not considered much. Brother Wei Tong, just say the word and we will immediately go and block that place. I don't believe that 60 ships of sand and stones can't block that waterway. Guo Ren was still thinking about the good things. When Mi Fan received the letter the night before, he told them the contents. The Zhang family would work with Luochuan County, Dingping County, and their shipping company to build a pier in Dingping. It would be convenient for large ships to transfer to small ships, and small ships to large ships. At the beginning, no one would have thought that this could be done. When the time came, both sides would earn money. When they transferred, they didn't need to use the same merchant or the same type of goods. The large ships would receive goods along the way. When they reached Dingping County, they would start to distribute the goods to the small ships. This way, the journey would be shorter. They wouldn't have to wait for the goods to come to the capital to earn money. They just had to transport goods from Chuanshu all the way back and they could earn a sum. After all, the return journey was against the current. It was too tiring for the large ships to travel. If they didn't load the goods in the capital, they would lose money. With the small ships in Dingping to receive goods, not only would they not lose money, but they could also earn a little more. The route would be divided into segments and there wouldn't be a shortage of goods. However, this idea was sent by the Zhang family. Now, the shipping company wanted to pressure the Zhang family. Therefore, no matter how good the idea was, it could only be used to deal with the Zhang family. The small river could earn money because it connected the capital and Chuanshu. As long as the diversion point in Dingping County was blocked, the goods from the capital could only be transported to Luochuan County. This was also the place called Da Luo Shui. If they cut them off, everything would be solved. They would turn their cooperation into a conspiracy. These people were more excited. At this time, after hearing Guo Ren's words, they also felt that it was feasible. The idea of cutting off the trade route was suggested by Mi Fan. However, Mi Fan would never have thought that they would be prepared to cut it off like this. Looking at Guo Ren's excited gaze in front of her, Mi Fan finally couldn't hold it in and said loudly, "Good idea. Using dozens of ships to block the Luo Shui River. In a few days, our heads will be cut off to block the Luo Shui River. Does the Jingshui River belong to us? We can block it if we want to? Then why don't we pool together the ships of our families and make 100 ships, fill them with sand and stones, send them to the canal, and sink them to block the waterway to the capital? That way, the transportation to the capital will be useless, and the grain won't be able to enter the capital. Even the emperor will be afraid of us. Don't you think so?" When everyone heard this, they didn't make a sound. Only now did they think about how the 2 counties and prefectures would react if they blocked the canal. Even if they had a few heads, it wouldn't be enough to chop them off. For the sake of one Zhang family, they would harm the common people. Even if the Zhang family didn't do anything, there would be many people who would do it. If they handed in a memorial, the emperor would see it. With just a word, the princes in the prefectures would confiscate their families. Although Guo Ren's body wasn't easy to control, his mind was still clear. When he heard this, he asked, "Brother Wei Tong, didn't you say the waterway would be blocked the night before? If we don't sink the ships, what else can we do?" The other merchants also looked at Mi Fan. Mi Fan felt a bit sad that she had to work with a group of idiots. However, these people did listen to her, so she could only say, "Those who come from Chuanshu don't dare to take the dangerous route. It's only because they haven't reached Chuanshu that small boats can pass through. In Dingping County, when you enter the Luo River, don't you know how fast the current is? If you use an oar, when a wave comes, all your strength will be wasted. If you use a bamboo pole, you won't be able to reach the bottom of the water. Don't their small boats rely on the trackers from that corner to pull them? Send 3 large ships over. As long as they anchor there, say that the ships are broken and can't move, their small boats won't be able to be pulled by the trackers. They will need to go around our large ships. It's already a fast current, and now it's blocked by 3 ships. Which small boat do you think will be able to pass?" "That's right. As long as a small boat wants to pass, it'll happen to meet the 3 large ships blocking the slanting current. One boat will capsize. We didn't do it on purpose. It's the large ships that are broken. After a few boats capsize, we'll send a few large ships and leave 3 ships there. We'll say that there's a problem. Even if they don't want to, they'll have to hold on. Only those who have rowed for decades are willing to give it a try. Others won't be able to do it. How many people can they find? 1 in 100. It's a good idea." When a merchant heard Mi Fan's words, he also thought of this point and started to flatter her. When the others heard this merchant's words, they also understood the reasoning behind it. They all agreed. Mi Fan felt a bit helpless. How could no one think of such a simple thing? They were even prepared to sink the ships to block the entrance. She sighed to herself and said, "This matter isn't urgent. We'll talk about it after we ask them about the details of the sea route." The merchants once again banded together, and one by one, they began to talk about how to deceive. The more Mi Fan heard, the stronger her fear became. Even when she mentioned using a boat to divert the small boats, she felt the same way. This plan was perfect. She didn't know where it went wrong. Could it be that the Marquis' shipyard could make small boats that were not afraid of such things? Unless they ate deep water. But if they ate deep water, they wouldn't be able to cross the river. As long as she thought of this, she felt a bit upset. She couldn't help but say, "Actually, the Zhang family's plan of switching from large to small boats will make us more money than before. Why don't you think about it?" "What's there to think about? If they don't die, we will. So many pairs of eyes are watching us. If we really lose face, will we still do business in the future?" "Brother Wei Tong, you overestimate the Zhang family. This is a matter on the water. They don't understand. They only know how to farm and raise chickens. How would they know the dangers on the water?" Guo Ren poured himself a cup of wine and drank it again. His eyes were glazed over, but his words received the agreement of the other merchants. They were indeed afraid of the Zhang family's manner, but that was on land. They didn't dare to interfere with some of the transactions. But when it came to the water, it was not as simple as imagined. No matter how powerful the Zhang family was, could they naturally understand things in the water? Then they wouldn't have to manage a small river. Mi Fan looked at the gazes of the merchants that were looking at him one by one. Finally, he compromised, even though he felt like his heart was being tightly grasped by someone. He had never been in such a situation before. In the past, when there was danger, he just felt uncomfortable. This time, he found it difficult to even breathe. What is it? What other tricks does the Zhang family have? Why is it like this? It's worse than dying. Could it be that the whole family is exterminated? The Zhang family really has this ability. He just has a top scholar and knows a marquis. Why does his chest hurt? Mi Fan pressed his hands to his chest. He valued his body's reaction very much. In the past, when he encountered things, he only felt a little uncomfortable. Every time he made the decision to hide, he would go to the temple or Taoist temple and receive good news. But this time was different. He felt like he was going to die immediately. Those merchants didn't know how uncomfortable Mi Fan was. They were still fantasizing about forcing the Zhang family to beg for mercy and be as obedient as dogs. Chapter 357. When night fell, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's boat also arrived at Little Luoshui's pier. The two of them slept comfortably, rocking on the boat as if they had returned to the cradle when they were young. Cuckoo, I suddenly thought of something. You said that in the northeast and some other places, children sleep in cradles when they are young. As long as the cradle is gently rocked, the child inside will not cry and will sleep peacefully. Some people say that this is because they are afraid that the cat will take the child away. But I know that some people have cats and dogs at home, and those cats and dogs will stay by the side and help push the cradle. This is not the main point. What I want to say is there any difference between that kind of rocking and seasickness or carsickness? Especially ships. Why do people who are used to being rocked by cradles become seasick when they grow up? When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan got off the boat, he suddenly thought of something, so he said to Wang Wan. Of course, Wang Wan knew about this matter, especially for some families who raised monkeys. Their children were all taken care of by monkeys. When the children were placed in the cradle, the monkeys would help to drive away mosquitoes while pushing the cradle. Their strength was neither too light nor too heavy. There were even milk bottles that were warmed and warmed. The monkeys would even help to feed the children. According to the theory of seasickness, the children would have vomited long ago, and it was impossible for them to sleep so peacefully. What was the reason for all this? Looking at Zhang Xiaobao's eyes, Wang Wan shook her head and said, I really don't know. Do you know? I don't know much about it either, but you should be able to find out that the younger the child, the worse their bones and muscles are. But every time they fall, they will cry because of scratches, but it is very rare for them to break bones. If they are short, then if they fall from a height of 1.5 meters, the probability of them dying is definitely lower than that of an adult. Also, you can try to put a baby on calm water. If you put an adult who can't swim on calm water, the baby's survival rate is higher than that of an adult. There's also a simple example. When a baby under half a year old cries, it's very rare for him to lose his voice from crying. Even if he cries for a few hours, if you ask an adult, how many of them won't lose their voice? Zhang Xiaobao continued to talk about the comparison between a baby and an adult. Wang Wan was confused. Some of what Xiaobao said was true. Especially when a baby cried, it could be heard very clearly from a distance. If it were an adult, it wouldn't take too long for them to stop crying if they wanted to have the same effect. Xiaobao, is it related to the recovery speed of the body? Wang Wan asked. No, if you give the poison milk powder to the babies and the adults will be fine, but the babies are basically done for. Actually, what I want to say is, why can I jump from such a high place and be fine, and why can I climb such a high place with my bare hands? Zhang Xiaobao became serious at this time. Why? Training. Wang Wan only felt that this was the right answer. No, it's regress. Babies don't have a sense of height. Even if you put him at a height of 1,000 meters, he still dares to climb down. It's like when you suddenly encounter a high-speed football head-on. You dodge backwards, thinking that you're seriously injured. You face it head-on. Unless you're very unlucky and the football happens to hit your weakest point, the injury you suffer will be much smaller. What I want to say is a kind of mentality. People who sleepwalk don't care about height. Just like a baby, they may fall to their death at a certain height, but at that height, people with the same physique as them will definitely fall to their death if they jump from that height. My training is actually to make myself feel less afraid and to be able to imitate the state of sleepwalking to a certain extent. As long as my body's muscles, bones, and coordination can withstand that height, I will be safe and sound. Many people who sing are the same. They are imitating a baby's voice. The pitch is very high, and the penetrating power is very strong. It can give people a special resonance. This can be nurtured. For example, our perception of danger, judgment of targets, and the hints we give ourselves when our body reaches its limit can be nurtured. An excellent battlefield sniper can sense certain things within his or her accurate sniping range. For example, you can... Okay, Xiao Bao, I know what you mean. That is, under the same amount of effort, talent is more important than hard work in certain aspects. But what are you trying to say? Wang Wan interrupted Zhong Xiaobao and asked. What I want to say is that while we were on the ship, through the information gathered by Li Sun, I discovered a person who has a natural talent for sensing danger. He is different from us who are trained. He is born with it, and he is even more sensitive than us who are trained. His name is Mi Fan. Zhong Xiaobao finally got to the point. Wang Wan also saw the information sent by Li Sun. She thought about it and nodded. Indeed, but even if we want to kill him now, he can't avoid it. The two of us are enough. He is not as good as us. He won't use that kind of innate talent. Yes, 99% of sweat and 1% of talent is success. The most important is that 1%. Do you want to let him go? No, I want to keep him by our side like Song Jinggong, especially when we go out to sea. His talent is too important. I don't even know if I am a theist or an atheist, a materialist or an idealist. Zhong Xiaobao sighed and said, when something that a person insisted on was washed away, it was very uncomfortable in the heart. It could even cause one to lose one's sense of direction and the will to live. Although Wang Wan was a member of the system, the things that people in the system understood were the most mysterious. Xiao Bao, what is materialism? I believe that materialism is science, and this science is exploration and research, not positioning. If you say that the unknown is unscientific, then your statement is unscientific. Don't be fooled by the system. Look at those buildings built by the government, and look at the rules that those officials usually follow when they do things. If you still don't understand, then think about why the great people of the past would go to draw lots before every big battle. Do you know what a unit is? What did 83441 represent? When we don't understand, we don't have to admit or deny it. We don't have the ability to explore. We just have to be ourselves. Oh, Cuckoo, you are right. If souls can come, what is impossible? I want that Mi Fan. He is not Guan Yu, and I am not Chow Chow. Tomorrow, I will talk to them about the sea. When it's about time, I will immediately send a letter to Li Sun and ask him to prepare. Zhong Xiaobao didn't insist on things that he didn't understand. He quickly made up his mind. Wang Wan didn't understand. Xiao Bao, are you confident? It's not at the same level at all. If you get Yao Chong and Song Jing here, I might put in more effort, Zhong Xiaobao said proudly. Chapter 358. The night was misty. It was summer insects outside the window. Fireflies were hanging in the sky. The night is misty, looking at the starry sky. I am looking for a star, it is so bright, it is so affectionate. Wang Wan was lying on the ground in a house behind the dock. She looked at the starry sky outside and hummed. Zhong Xiaobao didn't sleep on the couch. The ground was cooler than the couch. The mahogany floor was polished smooth and painted with a layer of lacquer. Listening to Wang Wan's humming, he felt that he had heard this song somewhere before. It seemed to be very distant. He touched Wang Wan. Is it a song from 100 years ago? Can't you choose a closer one? I learned it when I was in the military academy. I've been singing it all the time. Everyone sang it and it became popular. Do you think life should be like a star shining in the distance, or like a meteor streaking across the sky? Wang Wan was probably hot. She was lying there and discussing life with Zhang Xiaobao. I think it should be like a star, like a meteor. It should crash into the earth and then cross the sky. Zhang Xiaobao put his hand flat on the floor. You are such a person. If you die, you will drag others down. It is too hot. It will be hot even if you put ice in the house. It would be better to have an air conditioner. Wang Wan imagined what the next star that was many times bigger than the sun would be like. She shook her head to get rid of this ridiculous idea and complained about the heat. Zhang Xiaobao was also hot. There were 2 basins of ice in the house. The air circulation was slow, so he didn't feel cool. Occasionally, there was a breeze from outside. It was warm. Hearing Wang Wan mention air conditioner, he suddenly said, "We don't have air conditioner. If you want to cool, you have to heat first. But we can make an air conditioner fan. It is very environmentally friendly. It doesn't use electricity or other fuel." Really? Then you should make one quickly. Not only can we use it, but also the restaurant. Then there will be more people willing to eat there. Tell me the principle and I will help you. As soon as Wang Wan thought of the cool breeze, she became interested and stopped sleeping. Zhang Xiaobao coughed and imitated the tone of a scholar. Today, I will first talk about the problem of heat transfer. As everyone knows, the existence of heat is ultimately... Get to the point. Wang Wan patted Zhang Xiaobao and hugged the bamboo pillow next to her. Actually, it's just a fan made out of wood or bamboo. In front of the fan, there's a basin filled with ice. You can ask someone to shake the fan. That way, the cold air will be blown by the wind. That's the air conditioner fan. Zhang Xiaobao felt a little embarrassed after saying that. This is your high-tech invention? Environmental protection? Then what's the point of using a fan? Wouldn't it be the same if he just used a fan to face an ice fan? Wang Wan curled her lips. Rich people didn't ask their servants to face an ice fan to cool the house. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't want to treat their servants that way. Otherwise, they could find a few more people to take turns to fan the air so that it wouldn't be so hot. Zhang Xiaobao thought for a while. It's not the same. My invention doesn't require too much effort. Using the lever principle of the mutual exchange of gears, the person who shakes the fan can make the fan turn many times. If you fan the fan, it will only move a little. Yes, just do it like that. There's no need for people. We are on a river and the wind is strong. As long as we make a fan outside some rooms and connect it from the bottom, not only will it add a special scenery, but it will also be able to blow the wind in the room through the conversion. It's better than opening the windows directly. If the wind can't blow into the room directly, it can blow in through my invention. The project is bigger, and the gears are simpler. There's no need to use good steel, and there's no need to bite so well. It just needs to be able to transmit the force and drive the fan. It's not like it's generating electricity. Let them melt the molten iron and cast it directly. Yes, we can try to do this. Let's start with the first house near the river. That house is made of wood. As long as there's a hole, the connecting shaft can go in. Use a wooden board to block it and beautify it. Use wood for the shaft. If not, it's too heavy and expensive. Get up and draw the blueprint. Zhang Xiaobao was talking by himself. As he was talking, he was perfecting his idea. His drawing skills still need to be improved, so he could only call Wang Wan to wake up. Let's do it tomorrow. How much are you going to invest this time? People are used to having an ice basin in the room to cool down. Even if we don't do it, they will still come to eat. Wang Wan didn't want to move. She turned over and spread her arms on the floor. Zhang Xiaobao came over and pulled her. one night's time will be wasted. Others are used to the current situation, but we have to let them get used to our place. They won't be used to other places. I can't draw by myself. I know the principle of the lever, but I don't know how to move it. Get up quickly. I'll make shaved ice for you tomorrow. Yes, just let the people in Huayuan County make shaved ice. Let's also make shaved ice for the people in Sanshui County. We can sell it everywhere and earn more money. There's so much edible ice stored in the winter. Our own restaurant won't be able to use it up. Don't pull me. I'm up. When the academy opens, I'll go there and find a good drawing master to learn. Wang Wan got up by herself and sat beside the desk with Zhang Xiaobao. She lit another candle, and it brightened up a lot. It's going to open soon. When those students come, the academy will open. It will give the academy a free promotion. Some of the competition venues can be put in the academy. There will definitely be people joining. Only when there are students and teachers will be willing to teach. Zhang Xiaobao spread out the paper, helped Wang Wan grind the ink, and talked about the academy. I knew you wouldn't just let people come here to compete. You don't have good intentions to let people from 2 counties make shaved ice, right? Wang Wan had been used to Zhang Xiaobao's style of doing things. She muttered and began to think about the design with Zhang Xiaobao. It took 3 hours for the two of them to draw more than 10 pieces of paper. Only after adding notes and descriptions did they manage to come up with a rough idea. As for the specific adjustments, they were handed over to the craftsmen. They were very experienced, so if they were given an idea, they would be able to figure it out themselves. Zhang Xiaobao clapped his hands and said, "Okay, send them to Zhuangzi tonight and find craftsmen to make them. Zhang Xiongru, come in." There were sounds of getting up and footsteps outside. After a while, Zhang Xiongru came in and said, "Little master, little miss, what can I do for you?" "Send these papers to Zhuangzi and send people to collect fruits. Buy the shancha left last year, especially the ones in Zhuangzi's warehouse and the ones that have just come out. Send them by the river. Put some of them at each place and send people to watch over them. Do the same with the ice, the kind that is edible." Zhang Xiaobao handed over a piece of paper and ordered Zhang Xiongru. Zhang Xiongru didn't ask more. She took the paper and turned around to leave. "You asked them to make shaved ice because you want to sell the shancha trees left last year on our newly granted land? And those fruits that are about to come down?" Wang Wan didn't want to study anymore. She pulled Zhang Xiaobao outside to take a shower and said, "That's right. How else can we sell them? Our shancha and the quality of the fruits is not good. If we do this every year, we won't have to cut down the trees anymore. Wasting resources is a shameful act. We can also sell more to the people in the 2 counties. There are many flavors, and people who come to see will want to buy and try it," Zhang Xiaobao said as he walked. The next morning, the weather was still hot. Fortunately, the spring plowing was over, so there was no need to worry about the drought. The people sent by Zhang Xiaobao came to the room where the shipping merchants were. They didn't manage to get a good place today. The waiter of the first shop in Linshui said that the room had been reserved by someone else. They could only change rooms. It seems that everyone has agreed to the matter of building a ship and going by sea. Let's sign the documents first and then talk about the details," the people sent by the Zhang family said solemnly to the shipping merchants. There were no dishes on the table, only some brushes, ink, paper, and inkstones. Everyone looked at Mi Fan. Mi Fan didn't look well today. He kept having nightmares last night and didn't have an appetite for breakfast. He was still thinking about what kind of danger was coming. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, he took a sip of tea and said, "It's not that we can't build a ship together, but we have to know how to do it. Otherwise, what if we lose money after we do it? It's better for you to tell us the details first." "Boss me, it's like this. It's written on the documents. After you sign, if you lose money because of the details, then the Zhang family and Wang family will compensate for everything. If we tell you the details and you don't sign, then it will be difficult for us. The people from the Zhang family pushed the documents forward and said, "How can we not do it?" "Don't worry," said a merchant from the ship company next to him. Seeing that, the people from the Zhang family nodded and handed over another document. He said to everyone, "Some details are written on it. Everyone can take a look first. After you read it, don't forget to sign the documents." The owners of the shipping company looked at each other. In the end, it was Mi Fan who spoke. "If that's the case, then wait for us to read it and then ask you to come over. Can we just tell the waiter in the restaurant?" The people from the Zhang family nodded and got up to put away the other things. They only left the documents that needed to be signed. He said, "It's like this. If there's nothing else, then I'll leave first." After the people from the Zhang family left, the people in the room immediately showed a special smile. "Brother Wei Tong, take a look. It's best if you make a copy. Then say that it's not done well and that we can't work with them," Guoran said excitedly as he held the paper in his hand. Mi Fan didn't know why, but when she looked at the paper, she felt that it was difficult for her to breathe. She picked up the paper with trembling hands and flipped through it one by one. The more she looked, the more she wanted to continue reading. It was as if there was something on the paper that attracted her. "Brother Wei Tong, what do you think?" Guoran asked. "Good. The Zhang family is really good. If we do as they say, we can definitely make a lot of money. Unfortunately, we can't go the same way as them." Chapter 359. The person from the Zhang family came to the best room in the first house in Linshui. He said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were waiting, "Young master, young lady," they asked for the details. "They didn't sign the document." "Oh, okay. Then go and ask Ding Ping about the cooperation and see what they have to say." Zhang Xiaobao was a little disappointed as he instructed. After the person left, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sighed at the same time. "Looks like they really plan to be enemies with us to the end. Isn't it good to cooperate and make the business big? If they insist on scheming against each other, then let's play with them." Zhang Xiaobao looked at the busy people below and said helplessly. He felt that if he were in their shoes, he would consider cooperation. Wasn't business just for money? If they lost something in this area, they could make up for it in other areas. Turning a competitor into a partner was the best strategy. Wang Wan scooped a spoonful of shaved ice from the bowl and put it in her mouth. "Don't worry about them. Let them do what they want. They're just short of people. Let Li Sun think of a way. See if he can contact the boat company on the Yellow River. After all, we have to go to the sea from there. That's all we can do." Zhang Xiaobao left the window and moved to Wang Wan's side. He also took a bite. The cool air went into his stomach, making him feel much better. In the other room, the boat merchants were still passing around the information. Anyone who could read was like Mi Fan after reading it. They were very surprised. This plan was too good. One by one, they talked about building a big boat and then going to earn money. Only Mi Fan was there drinking mouthful after mouthful of sour plum juice. It was precisely because the detailed plan was done well that he was even more worried. He still didn't know who would win in the end. Looking at those excited people again, he really regretted it. Why did it turn out like this? If he had known, he wouldn't have done this with these people. Although he was obedient, he couldn't do anything at critical moments. If he cooperated with a smart person, he could at least come up with some ideas. "Brother Wei Tong, let's arrange the matter of blocking the river. We already have the detailed plan, so we don't need to tell them anything else." Guoran came up and said to Mi Fan. Looking at his excited face, Mi Fan sighed in her heart and nodded. "All right, I'll arrange it now. Send 3 ships over. The boatman will know what to do." As soon as he finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. The waiter came in first, followed by the Zhang family member who had just left. "Everyone, how's it going? We're looking at it right now. When we're done, we'll look for you," a merchant said. "Very well. What do you think of the other matter?" "It's about transporting goods between the big ships and the small ships." The Zhang family asked again. This? I don't think that's necessary. We don't have many big ships. If we send out some more, we won't have enough. I'm afraid we won't be able to handle it. You can transport it yourselves. Another merchant added. The Zhang family member didn't care whether they agreed or not. He just wanted to know. After listening to the two people, he nodded and said, "Since it's like this, I'll go back first. You guys are busy. Young master, young lady, they also don't agree to hand over the goods at Dingping. The reason is that they don't have enough ships. I'm afraid they won't be able to handle it." The Zhang family member turned around and came to Zhang Xiaobao. "Yes, let's get busy. Let's all work together. Wan, let's go and take a look at the artificial lake at the back. There's also a winery and a pig farm there. While others are busy, we can't be idle." Zhang Xiaobao heard this and knew it was time to take action. Since they had nothing to do, they could take a stroll. It wasn't easy for the two of them to come out. Wang Wan ate the last mouthful of shaved ice, stood up and said, "Let's go. I'm going to row a boat. When the lake at Yawang Mountain is built, we'll row there when we're free." The two of them went out, one after the other. Zhang Zhong was also busy at this time. He recruited another 100 government runners and bought some horses. He asked them to patrol back and forth in the county. Like Sanshui County, he also bought some boats on the river and arranged the government runners on them. He himself went back and forth. "Master, there's no road ahead." Under the protection of the guards, Zhang Zhong rode on the horse and strolled around the county. At this time, there was a mountain or a group of mountains in front of them. The government runner who followed him said to Zhang Zhong. This government runner was from the inner courtyard of the Zhang family. His title was different from others. Even if his household registration was in the Zhang family, he could still be a government runner. No one in Huayuan County would investigate this matter. This person was originally from Huayuan County. When he was young, he followed his father and grandfather to the Zhang family. He knew more things here. After all, he was closer to the locals when he talked. After asking around, he knew more about Huayuan County. Then he followed Zhang Zhong around. Zhang Zhong stopped the horse and looked at the mountain in front of him. It was really good. It was so majestic and so solemn. He asked the person next to him, "Are there people here?" In reply to Master, "There are. There are 2 villages here." Both of them said that their villages are called Fragrant Mountain Village. When they entered the household register, there was no choice but to record them as Big Fragrant Mountain Village and Small Fragrant Mountain Village according to the number of people. The people here don't pay taxes for food, but for animal skins. Usually, they make a living by hunting. They sell the game to buy some daily necessities. Daxiang Village has more people. There are 25 households and 166 people. Shaxiang Village has fewer people. There are 23 households and 143 people. The 2 villages usually communicate with each other. There are also marriages between the 2 villages. The Yamen runner had a very detailed understanding of the situation in the mountain. He didn't even leave out the people. Seeing that the master liked to listen, he continued, "Master, there used to be a temple here. The pilgrims would buy some fruits from the mountain. In the past 2 years, there has been no one. The people in the temple have become ordinary people. The incense also stopped. Occasionally, some people would come here to take a look." "Yes." Zhang Zhong nodded and said, "Since there are still people here, I have to go and take a look. After all, I am a county magistrate. I want to see how they are living." "Master, there is no road ahead. If you want to go to the 2 villages, you have to walk on the grass. There are also wild beasts and poisonous insects in the mountain. Why don't you let the people in the village come out and take a look?" The Yamen runner was worried and tried to persuade him, even if he knew that it was useless. Sure enough, Zhang Zhong didn't care about these things. When he was walking around recently, the doctor at home had prescribed some medicine for him. There were also things prepared by the hunters in the past. He wasn't afraid of snakes and insects, let alone wild beasts. With 20 guards from the prince's mansion, even a big worm could be killed with crossbows. Or should I go and take a look myself and see how they are living? There is no lack of meat in the mountain. I think it will be good, right? Zhong was thinking about the meat of the wild beasts. If they could eat meat, their lives would be good. Unexpectedly, the yeoman runner shook his head and replied, "Master, they are the most miserable people in the county. In the past, when County Magistrate 1 was here, they had to send many things to the county every year. When they came to sell meat, they could only sell it to one family, which was Jean Lai Restaurant. Otherwise, they wouldn't dare to accept it. The price given by Jean Lai Restaurant is even lower than the price of pork. In the past, it was only enough to fill their stomachs. I asked around in the county. Last year, they also levied double the tax. In order to get enough fur, they went out at night. 3 people and 2 people died in the 2 villages respectively. It's good to be able to eat meat, but people can't always eat meat. They have to eat other things. Vegetables are wild vegetables. They also opened up some land next to the village and planted some vegetables. However, they have to wear clothes, eat salt, and come out to buy rice and noodles. Every year, they have to come out to work dozens of days, and the rent is not reduced. I don't know how they are now. Before Master came, they changed their things once and never came out again." Zhong listened quietly. His hands unconsciously clenched into fists. He really couldn't think of how the person surnamed one could do this without caring about the lives of the people. Even when his family was not better, he wouldn't do this to the villagers. "No, I can't just let it go like this. I have to submit a memorial. The person surnamed one should be cut into pieces. Get off the horse. Leave 2 yeoman runners behind to watch. The rest of you, bring our food and come with me. I want the people in the 2 villages to know that the change of officials is different from the original." Zhong was originally the kind of person who would let people off easily. This time, he was finally angry. It was one thing for a county magistrate to be greedy for the county's money and make fake accounts, but he actually wanted to exploit the people like this. It was simply infuriating. After getting off the horse, he took out the realgar and sprinkled it on his body. He also took out a small bamboo box and took out something to apply on his face. He handed it to the people who were going to follow him into the mountains. "Apply it. This is the medicine made at home." A group of 27 people began to walk into the mountains. 20 bodyguards, 6 yeoman runners, and Zhong himself walked all the way into the mountains. They could vaguely see the places where people had walked before. The sun above their heads was blocked by the leaves. It was not very hot, but the heat in the woods was not easy to dissipate. It was stuffy and unbearable. Sweat seeped out from their pores and wet their clothes from the inside out. Zhong was wearing his official robes. It was even more uncomfortable. His light green robes had turned dark green. Those who didn't know would think that a 6th-rank official had come. He also grabbed the goldfish bag hanging from his waist. This could not be lost. Everything else was fine, but this was something to show his identity. Although he was a 7th-rank official, he still had a goldfish bag. This was the additional benefit of giving something and being the top scorer. Chapter 360. Zhong continued to walk forward. Sure enough, it didn't take long for a village to appear in front of him. It wasn't like he had imagined, where there was smoke curling up from the chimneys, chickens and dogs chasing each other, and children playing around. There were some fields outside the village where cucumbers and eggplants were planted. The eggplants had not yet grown, and there were a few cucumbers hanging alone. There was also a fence made of thick wood outside the village. There was some sand and stones on the road, and there were wild flowers and weeds growing on the side. A river flowed behind the village. The houses in the village were made of mud bricks, and there was some grass growing out of them. There were no children playing outside, but there was no lack of dogs barking. There were no poultry or livestock. There was no smoke coming out of the chimneys. It was already noon. "Don't they eat lunch?" Zhong asked the yeoman runner in the inner courtyard. The Yamen runner was also puzzled. Where did all the people go? He shook his head blankly. Master, I don't know. Why don't we go in and take a look? Let's wait. If there were people in the village, they would have taken a look. Now that we don't see anyone, they might have gone out. The whole village went out. What is going on? Zhang Zhong took out the monocular that Zhang Xiaobao had extorted from him and looked at the village. From time to time, he adjusted the distance between the two lenses of the monocular. The Yamen runner looked enviously at the monocular in Zhang Zhong's hand. He had used it once, and it was very useful. It could reach a distance that couldn't be seen normally. He thought for a moment and said, Master, why don't I take a few people to look around? No, wait. Take this and look at it. If you see a person, just say it. It's the same for beasts. Zhang Zhong handed the monocular to the Yamen runner and found a place to sit down. He took out a water bag from his backpack and sipped it. He was now learning from his son and daughter-in-law. When he went out, he carried a specially made bag. In the county, no one would say that he didn't have good manners. There were some things that could be used at any time in the bag. It was very convenient. The bailiff excitedly took the binoculars. Under the envious gazes of the other bailiffs, he looked around. He didn't show off and didn't say much. He looked around himself. When the wind blew at some places, he stared at them for a while. The group of people waited for a full hour. Finally, the Yamen runner holding the binoculars shouted excitedly, Master, there are people. I see people. A large group. A few of them are carrying things. At his shout, Zhang Zhong stood up, took the binoculars, and looked towards the northeast. He saw men, women, old, and young, laughing and talking as they walked over. There were two places in the crowd that were different from other places. There were a few strong people carrying wooden poles on their shoulders. From the gaps in the crowd, Zhang Zhong finally knew what they were carrying. It turned out to be 2 bears. It seemed that someone had hunted the bears and the whole village went to pick them up. When they got closer, he saw more clearly. The 2 bears were not small. Their bodies were covered with wounds. He didn't know how the people in the village hunted them. After a certain distance, the people in the village also noticed Zhang Zhong and his group. They stopped in a panic and didn't dare to come back. 2 people go over and tell them who I am. When Zhang Zhong saw that the villagers didn't dare to come back, he ordered the person beside him. The Yamen runner from the inner courtyard waved to a person behind him and ran over. The person who was waved by him didn't dare to be negligent. He knew that he was not as valued by the county magistrate as his colleague. The county magistrate was from the inner courtyard of Zhuangzi, but he still had to show off. The 2 of them ran in front of the villagers, one in front of the other. Everyone, don't worry. Hurry back to the village. We are the county's Yamen runners. Look at our clothes. The Yamen runner from the inner courtyard said to the villagers in front of him. The villagers didn't look happy because of their arrival. Instead, they looked at them vigilantly. The older people didn't say anything, but the children didn't care. A little boy about 9 years old shouted at them, Do you know that we hunted 2 bears, so you want to come and snatch them again? The 2 bailiffs were stunned, especially the one who followed behind. He recalled what had happened in the past, and his expression changed. He had also come to bully the people in the village. Back then, the village had just hunted a fox, and he had helped county magistrate when snatched the fox. Today, they had just brought back 2 bears. Suddenly, people from the Yamen came again. Anyone would think that they were here to rob them again. The Yamen runner from the inner courtyard had studied for a year and a half, so he knew a lot of things. He quickly said, Don't think too much. The county magistrate of Huayuan County has been changed. The original one with the surname Wan was arrested and brought to the capital. The one with the surname Xiao was also arrested and his house was confiscated. The new county magistrate is different from the previous one. He loves the people like his own children. I heard that there are 2 villages here. I walked here and wanted to see how everyone is living. Our new county magistrate is very powerful. Everyone can wait to live a good life in the future. Who are you kidding? None of the officials are good people. One left, and another one came. Is it because you took a liking to another one and collected taxes for 2 years? Since you can't get anything good out of it, you're here to steal from us. The child who spoke just now added. The 2 yamen runners looked at the villagers' distrustful eyes and sighed at the same time. It was still the person from the inner courtyard who said, "Whether it is true or not, what's the use of you stopping here? Don't you know the village? Let's talk about it when we are in the village, okay?" The villagers thought about it and agreed. If they stopped here, the county magistrate would not come. There were more than 20 people, and they could carry 2 bears. Even if they really came, what could they do? Under the guidance of the village chief, the villagers continued to carry the 2 bears to the village. When they arrived at the village, Zhang Zhong also led people to greet them. He did not have any official prestige. He walked out from the protection of the guards with a smile on his face and said to the leading villager, "You are amazing. You can actually hunt 2 bears. 1 bear paw can be sold for a lot of money." If he was not wearing an official's uniform, the villagers would have thought that he was an errand boy. When did an official smile at ordinary people? His smile was so sincere. Only those yamen runners knew that as long as they did not do too much, the county magistrate was very easy to talk to. He would even chat with them when he was free. But as long as they did something they should not do, such as bullying the people when they went out, they would be beaten at least 30 times with a rod. There was a doctor waiting next to them. They did not dare to be merciful even if they wanted to, not to mention the feeling of being beaten 30 times. After the beating, they had to carry them in front of the people who bullied them for them to see. If it was a second time, they would be beaten 100 times and then driven away. There was no need for yamen runners. Until now, no one had done it a second time, and no one had done it the first time. After 100 beatings, the person was dead. The villagers did not know this. Looking at Zhang Zhong's smile, they felt very comfortable. The village chief was not like other places, where the position was held by an old man. The village chief here was a man of 24 or 25 years old. He stood up and said, "You are the new county magistrate?" "Yes, I am." "Why don't you sell your 2 bears to the county? Sell them to Jinlai Restaurant." Now, Jinlai Restaurant is not owned by that relative surnamed one. It is owned by my family. The price given is absolutely fair, and we can even give a little more. After all, my family has many restaurants. If we sell them in the capital, we can make more money. As Zhang Zhong spoke, he opened his backpack and took out candies from it and handed them to the child next to him. The candies were prepared for himself. When there was no food to eat, he could eat 2 pieces of candy to make up for it. The child stared at the candy but did not dare to take it. He looked timid. Zhang Zhong took the child's hand and stuffed the candy in it. "Take it. Don't worry, I will not take your things for free. I am different from that county magistrate one. My family is rich. I don't dare to say too much, but I can easily take out tens of thousands of coins. I am not afraid of not having enough money. How much are your 2 bears worth?" "My family's master is the head of Zhongjia Zhuangzi in Sanshui County. He doesn't care about your things. My master has hundreds of restaurants and shops." At this time, the yamen runner in the inner courtyard helped to speak up. Zhang Zhong turned his head and nodded to the yamen runner with satisfaction. Some of the villagers who went to trade had heard about Zhongjia Zhuangzi. When they came back, they told the villagers. At this time, when the villagers heard that the new county magistrate was the head of the Zhang family, they were finally not worried. The child who took the candy stuffed it into his mouth and asked without scruples, "Did you give something to your family's farmer? And build a big house for the farmer?" "Don't talk nonsense," the farmer's parents said at the same time. Zhang Zhong did not care. He nodded and said to the child, "I will not give it for free. The farmer has done a lot for the family. It is not right to not give it. Tell me, how old are you?" 8 years old. After being scolded by his parents, the child became timid and said timidly, 8 years old is not old enough. You can go to school to study. In the future, I will build a school here and find someone to teach you. Tu Zhuangzi can take care of you at the same time. Zhong Zhong thought of his son's plan. He wanted to find a person who could not pass the exam. He believed that the people who came here would not suffer too much and the villagers could take good care of them. At this time, the village chief also noticed the difference in the new county magistrate. He said, "Sir, are we still collecting taxes this year?" "Collecting taxes? Didn't you already pay this year's taxes?" "No, we will collect next year." "The 2 bears are not of much use to you. Send them to Jinlai Lu. 1 bear is 100 coins. Chapter 361. The Jing River Flows, and the Wei River Flows. The shadows of the boats struggle to reach the end, and the fish swim with the current. Near Nei Province, far Nei Province. Flags flutter in the wind, and life is full of joys and sorrows. Li Sun sat in the study of the state capital, and the sound of him reading came from his mouth. Those who didn't know would think that he was reading, but in fact, he was reading a letter written to him by Zhang Xiaobao. Beside him, a servant girl was helping him pour some water, grind ink, and flip through books. At this time, she didn't move and just waited for the Marquis to speak. Li Sun read the letter from beginning to end and asked the servant girl, "Do you think I'm crazy, or the people of the Jing River Boat Company are crazy?" "Of course it's the people who are crazy. If they weren't, why would they provoke the Zhang family? The Zhang family's methods to deal with their enemies are endless. From the beginning, they calculated and only stopped when they made people sick. The little prince is working with the Zhang family, and they still dared to stir up trouble. If they aren't crazy, then what are they?" The servant girl seemed to be very familiar with Li Sun, and was not afraid at all. Li Sun reached out and pulled the servant girl into his arms, and said with a naughty smile, "My little Ching Ching still knows. Come, let me teach her well." The servant girl only smiled and was not afraid at all. Instead, she snuggled into Li Sun's arms and said, "The Marquis is bad, you only know how to bully Ching Ching. Ching Ching can only listen to the Marquis." Li Sun let go, and a helpless expression appeared on his face. "Don't listen to me, I can't do anything. Wait until I go to the Zhang family to find a prescription and grow up quickly, then I'll teach you a lesson. Then Ching Ching will wait for the Marquis. The Marquis must grow up quickly." The servant girl followed. "Okay, isn't it just bullying me because I'm young? There are also 2 younger ones, Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, who are just as anxious. Ha 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 ha. Tell me, should I do as they say? This idea is too immoral. If I don't do it, their property will be confiscated. The Zhang family is really ruthless when they take action." Li Sun did not know what to do with this servant girl. She was usually obedient and sensible. Even if he wanted to take advantage of her, it was fine. But how could he take advantage of her? He could only suppress his anger. Fortunately, there were still 2 people. So what if they were childhood sweethearts? One day, he would ask Xiao Bao to visit the brothels. The maidservant Ching Ching also heard what Li Sun just said. She also thought that the Zhang family was not ordinary, but she didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Now that the Marquis asked, she said, "Naturally, we have to do as the Zhang family says." The Zhang family gave them 2 chances in a row, but they didn't agree. Compared to the Marquis, they are far worse. The Zhang family is like this. They are kind to good, and evil to bad. You can just say that this Marquis was afraid at that time. Yes, I was afraid. I was afraid of the Zhang family's desperate methods, and I was also afraid of my father. People can only avoid danger when they know that they are afraid. You don't know now. Wait until I'm older. Li Sun thought about how he had almost provoked the Zhang family's revenge. He was also filled with emotions. That bridge was really like what others said. It was not an ordinary bridge. It was the bridge of helplessness. It was a line between heaven and hell. If he retreated, he would immediately receive benefits one after another. If others entered, they would fall one after another, causing him to be dizzy and his family to be ruined. Why were the people of the Jing Shui Boating Company so stubborn? It was easy to commit suicide. They just had to tie a big stone to their feet and jump into the water. It was convenient to jump from their own boat. Why did they have to implicate their family? Little prince, if you can't bear it, why don't you follow the second plan of the Zhang family's letter? It will only force people but not kill them. The maidservant Qing saw the hesitation on the little prince's face and said. Li Sun knew the second plan, which was to force the people of the boating company to quit the industry. There was also the third plan, which was to force them to cooperate. He could choose from the three plans, but he had no choice. His identity was there. The people of the Jing Shui Boating Company knew his relationship with the Zhang family, but they still dared to do this. They clearly didn't put him, the Marquis, in their eyes. He could only choose the first plan. He didn't want to give the people of the boating company any chance and get them down in one breath. Therefore, Li Sun pointed at the first set of plans. The servant girl looked at it and said, "Then let's do it like this." He actually used a series of schemes, deceiving everyone, creating something out of nothing, loosening the reins in order to capture him, capturing the leader of the gang, and the most crucial one in the middle, leaving first. Too ruthless. So be it. If they don't hate me, they won't know how powerful a marquis is. Li Sun also knew the result of the first plan. He also wanted to use it to let some people who didn't care about him know. Li Sun made up his mind. He threw away the other two plans and said to the maidservant, "Go and call them over. I have to give them orders bit by bit. Let's paddle the 2 oars. The small boat moves back the waves. The small boat pushes the waves away. The beautiful white clouds are reflected on the water, surrounded by green trees and green grass. Zhang Xiaobao, can you not blindly change the lyrics? The lyrics are rhyming. Quickly row. Just now when you got on the boat, you said you were good at rowing. Now you can't." When Zhang Xiaobao was singing enthusiastically, Wang Wan didn't give him any face and interrupted the later part of the song. She pointed to the 2 oars and asked Zhang Xiaobao to row. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the 2 oars that weren't fixed to the side of the boat. He really didn't know what to do. He could only pick up one of the oars and row left and right. It was impossible to row both oars at the same time. When he came here, he and Wang Wan each had an oar and rowed at the same time. When he was rowing, he said how good he was at rowing in the past. When Wang Wan heard it, she immediately threw the oar in her hand into the boat and let him do it himself. Zhang Xiaobao rowed a few times and stopped. He said to Wang Wan, "Comrade Wang Wan, you didn't understand just now. I didn't mean rowing in this way. Is it a goose boat? The kind that we step on? Then I can row well." Wang Wan looked at the surrounding water and said with a look of enjoyment on her face. Zhang Xiaobao thought about what a goose boat looked like and nodded, "That's really simple. What are we going to eat tonight? We didn't bring any fishing gear. Otherwise, we can catch some fish and go back to eat. Let's go to the pig farm tonight and see if there are any pigs that can be killed. I want to eat blood sausages." "Xiaobao, which plan do you think Li Sun will choose?" Wang Wan said something about food and asked about Li Sun. Zhang Xiaobao had already confirmed this. It's the first one. Li Sun's character determines that he will choose the first one. What if he doesn't choose the first one and chooses the other two? Wang Wan asked again. Then I'm wrong. It's not a big deal. Rowing. Master, why don't you drink the tea we brought? In Daxiang Mountain Village, Zhang Zhong went to the village chief's house and sat there drinking the tea that was served. There were also a lot of things added in the tea, but it was not as good as the tea in his house. The yamen runner looked at him from the side and whispered in Zhang Zhong's ear. Zhang Zhong took a sip and bit a piece of ginger. He chewed and swallowed it. No need. Didn't I drink the same thing before? I can drink it before, and I can drink it now. I can't forget my roots just because I have a good life. Master, you're right. We can't forget. We have suffered, but we have to remember now. We can't throw away the food that we have eaten. The yamen runner didn't continue to take out the tea after hearing his master's words. He repeated one of the rules in his house, which was that he could eat expensive food during meals, but he couldn't leave any leftovers. He could eat all the snacks that were steamed with honey, and no one would say anything about it. He could eat the food made with chaff and wild vegetables, and he couldn't leave any leftovers. Zhang Zhong had always been very satisfied with this yamen runner, and he was still the same now. Well, it's good that you remember. There are still many people who can't eat. Those who are not hungry don't know how to cherish food. You go out and spend money to buy the food. Master, why would I go out and spend money to buy the food? Our Zhong family's food is better than the restaurants. The yamen runner said with a smile. The village chief accompanied them and drank the tea. He also knew that the tea in the village was not good, but he didn't expect that the new county magistrate didn't care at all. The ginger was usually thrown away, but the county magistrate ate it. Seeing this, he was relieved. The two bears had been sent to Jin Lai restaurant. Even if the county magistrate didn't pay, he didn't dare to keep the county magistrate here, unless he was ready to rebel. How could more than 100 people rebel? At this time, seeing that the new county magistrate was so amiable, and thinking about what the people who went out said when they came back, he believed a little more. Village Chief Hong, I will stay here tonight. I will choose a place to eat and see how the people in the village are doing. If they are doing well, I will go back early tomorrow morning. If they are not, I will stay here tomorrow and help to think of a solution. When I came here, there are no wild animals in the mountains nearby. There is also a river. We can raise some ducks and pigs. When the live ducks arrive, there will be people in the county who will buy them. The price is the same as the price in the county. As for the pigs, we can make some sausages and smoked meat and sell them for some money. Zhang Zhong picked up the pot and added water to the bowl. He also added some for the village chief and said with concern. The village chief didn't expect that the county magistrate could give ideas to the village. He said excitedly, Master, will there really be people coming in to buy the food? It will take a lot of effort to get out of here. It will take 3.5 hours to get to the county. The forest is stuffy and hot. It will take half a day to get to the county. Half a day is not much. The Qin family in Sanshui County is Zhuangzi. If you go there and come back, you will need to spend a whole day. Now they are raising some fish and shrimps. As long as they are big enough, someone will go there to buy them. If the road is not good, you can repair it. I don't have the say in other counties, but I am the county magistrate of Huayuan County. I can do whatever I want, Zhang Zhong said firmly. He really wanted to build a road. There were many wild animals in the mountains and some good wood. With a road, he could make money. He didn't have any idea of environmental protection. Even the emperor encouraged people to destroy the forest for farming. Chapter 362. Zhang Zhong wandered around in the afternoon. The villagers didn't eat lunch, and he didn't eat either. He only ate some beef jerky, fried noodles, and other things that he brought with him. Walking around the village, the villagers also caught 3 poisonous snakes, which he bought. He said that he would eat them when he went back, but in fact, he would use them to make medicinal wine. Little fragrant mountain village was not far from here. It was only an hour's walk away. Zhang Zhong decided to go there tomorrow. At night, he really would eat in the village and stay in the village. The villagers couldn't tell what kind of feeling they had. Anyway, before the meal, they had already chosen 30 people to take turns to guard outside at night. Zhang Zhong didn't specify which house to eat at. The villagers couldn't arrange it, so they could only make the best food at home into food. When it was time to eat, Zhang Zhong randomly chose a restaurant. When he went in to take a look, there were actually 4 dishes. One was fried salted rabbit meat, one was fried salted venison, one was steamed fish, and the last was an omelette. It was something that was made by breaking eggs and then putting them in oil to fry. It was considered a dish for ordinary people. In addition to the 4 dishes, there was also a soup. It was a ceremonial thing, and it didn't matter whether it was drunk or not. It was made by boiling small fish with a layer of oil and some chopped green onions floating on top. The rice was 2 rice, which was made by boiling rice and millet together. Zhang Zhong looked at the dishes, and Wei Wei nodded. He already understood that there was really nothing to eat in the village. The 2 dishes of fried salted meat were prepared for emergencies, and the omelette was definitely not poultry, but pheasant and wild duck eggs. There was one part of the color that was different from the others. Zhang Zhong picked up a little with his chopsticks, tasted it, and said, "You also took out the salty ones and fried them? Is the rice at home also gone?" "Sir, do you think the food is not good?" the male owner of the house asked with some worry. The child and the woman had already gone to the next room, and they were not qualified to come over to eat. "Good, how can it not be good? How can the food that was made with all the effort not be good? I won't pay for today's meal, but I'll treat you tomorrow." Zhang Zhong had originally planned to give them money. After all, it wasn't easy for the commoners. If they ate a meal, they might have to use up half a month's worth of savings. But when it was time to eat, he decided not to give them money. A little money couldn't solve the problem. Tomorrow, he would get people to go back and deliver some food and salt. Although the 2 dishes were marinated, the taste of the eggs was very light. It seemed that there was no more salt in the village. Their salt was basically used to marinate things. The men of this family didn't know how to respond and could only smile along. Zhang Zhong didn't hold back and ate as much as he could. Only 2 of the guards were still guarding, the rest had gone to other villagers' houses to eat with the bailiffs. Everyone had a good meal, but the villagers had a lot less emergency supplies in their houses. That night, Zhang Zhong stayed at the village chief's house. There was no ice basin, and the mountain was hot and stuffy. Fortunately, Zhang Zhong brought mosquito repellent. When he slept at night, he only heard the buzzing of mosquitoes, but was not bitten. When he woke up early the next morning, he ordered people to go back and bring some food and salt to the village for the villagers to eat. At this moment, he couldn't be calculative about his efforts and returns. Let the villagers have food to eat first. As for what would happen in the future, he would go back and ask his son. Not only could his son earn a lot of money, he could also help some people earn a little money. Zhang Zhong watched them leave and prepared to continue to the next place, Shaoxiang Mountain Village. For this, he even found 2 guides from the Xiang Mountain Village. Mi Fan, Guoran, and the others also welcomed a new day. After sending people to make arrangements yesterday, they prepared to go back today. After breakfast, they didn't forget to ask the waiter to find the Zhang family's people who came to discuss the cooperation yesterday. "Everyone, are you ready to sign the contract?" The Zhang family's people came over and asked first. "No, this detail is still lacking." "How about this, in a few days, when you have thought about what you are lacking, you can come to us again." A businessman didn't need Mi Fan's help this time and said directly. The Zhang family's people smiled and asked, "Do you know what's not good? Let's think about it carefully." "This is not good?" "It's not convenient for us to point it out. After all, it was the Zhang family's idea. We are the party who provided the boat. You can't expect us to think of a solution, right? Take a good look at it yourself. Here." After the businessman said something that even he felt was shameless, he handed back the paper with the details sent yesterday, including the unsigned contract. The Zhang family's people didn't show any dissatisfaction. They still had the same smile. "Then we will think about it carefully. Goodbye." Seeing that the Zhang family's people were so happy, Mi Fan clutched his chest again. That special feeling appeared again, making him unable to breathe. Some small dots appeared in front of his eyes. "Brother Wei Tong, what's wrong?" Guo Ran, who was beside him, noticed that something was wrong with Mi Fan this time and asked with concern. Mi Fan shook his head. "It's nothing. I just swallowed a little. Let me say something now. I know that some of us have connections with other boat companies, but don't tell anyone about this sea transportation, especially the details. Otherwise, it will harm others and ourselves. After this is over, if we really want to go by sea, we will have to make a new plan." Everyone agreed. Mi Fan didn't have time to distinguish who was telling the truth and who was lying. He felt that the uneasiness in his heart should come from this plan. But after saying that they wouldn't act according to this plan, the uncomfortable feeling didn't disappear. Brother Wei Tong, according to the time we arranged, there will be a boat stopping us in 3 days, right? After leaving the first family in Linshui, Guoran, who was standing on the boat, was in high spirits. It was as if the whole world was in his control. He asked Mi Fan, who was still feeling uncomfortable. Mi Fan forced himself to stay alert. Yes, in 3 days. 1 day is for someone to send the message, 2 days for the boat to arrive at Dingping. Brother Chenyuan, don't you think we're going too far? If we wanted to deal with the Zhang family directly, we wouldn't have to lie to them about the sea transportation plan. What if Zhang Zhong becomes a higher official one day? What will happen to us then? Mi Fan kept looking for a reason for his uneasiness. Since it wasn't because of that plan, it should be something else. Thinking about the Zhang family situation, only Zhang Zhong was a threat to them. Guoren laughed disdainfully. Brother Wei Tong, you're thinking too much. How long will it take for a county magistrate to become a high official? By then, we'll be able to make money by sea transportation. Even if he becomes a third-rank official, we can go to the Prime Minister and the others. With money, there's nothing that can't be done. Oh, that's right. With sea transportation, we'll be able to contact more powerful people. If it doesn't work, we can contact a few princes. Mi Fan was trying his best to find a reason for himself, a reason that would make him feel at ease. But when he said it, he still felt uncomfortable. In Feng State Prefecture, there was a fleet of 6 ships by the riverside. They left from the dock with the intention of going to Ma Lingshui. These were big ships that had just been bought from elsewhere last night. 6 ships, costing nearly 20,000 taels of silver. Someone else was carrying some heavy things onto the boats. The people at the pier didn't know what they were, and the boatmen and the people moving the things on the boats were unfamiliar faces. The 6 boats sailed against the current. As long as they reached Dingping County, they would be able to reach Ma Lingshui by following the largest river. The people on the boats seemed to be nervous and excited at the same time, but they did not speak. The boats weren't fast. At this speed, they would need 1.5 days to reach Dingping County. 2 days later, Zhang Zhong came out of the mountains. He bought a lot of furs and cured meat from the 2 villages. He also sent a lot of grain, salt, cloth, and silk to the 2 villages. He even secretly gave them 12 military bows. Others couldn't get these things, but he could. The moment the people of the 2 villages saw the grain, they completely believed that the new county magistrate was a good county magistrate. The grain was enough for them to eat for half a month. It was all good white flour and rice. The salt was divided into coarse and fine salt. The coarse salt was naturally used to pickle things, while the fine salt was eaten at home. They didn't have to do anything to get these things. They said again and again that they would give the county magistrate their own things. The county magistrate agreed, but after they left, they found that there was some silver in the county magistrate's house. It was exactly the value of the things they gave. Some people cried on the spot. What was a parent official? County Magistrate Zhang was. He always had a smile on his face when he talked to people. He was never picky when he ate or drank. He even sent all kinds of things to the village. Hong Cun knew that he couldn't catch up with the county magistrate's team. This time, there were a few people who came to deliver the goods. From the way they talked and when they went out, it could be seen that they were all good hunters. With such people leading the way, the team would move very fast. They were still in the inner courtyard of the Zhang family. The county magistrate is amazing. Remember, go to the county town more often in the future. Prepare the furs for next year as early as possible. If the county magistrate doesn't make things difficult for us, we can't make things difficult for the county magistrate either. The money from selling the bear is here. Whoever hunts it, divide it. Remember the county magistrate's kindness. Hong Cun said loudly to the people who gathered in the village. The villagers nodded vigorously. They also understood that they had taken the county magistrate's things for free this time. They must find a way to repay him in the future. At the same time, there were 3 big boats on the Jingshui River heading towards Dingping County. They would arrive there in another 2 hours. In the upper reaches of the river, which was Ma Ling Shui, there were 6 similar big boats. They turned around in the middle of the river and headed towards Dingping County, which they had just passed. It was estimated that they would arrive there in 3 hours if they followed the river. A small boat carrying people passed by Dingping. The boat was moving very slowly. It was moving at this speed when it came out of the Xiao Luo Shui pier. At this time, the people on the boat were sitting at the bow of the boat and drinking wine. They let out bursts of laughter from time to time. In the lake of Xiao Luo Shui, Zhang Xiaobao was rowing a fixed double-oared boat. He said to Wang Wan, who was sitting there eating snacks, "I just finished arranging a task and my father found a new one for me. What a tiring life! Arranging work for people in the mountainous areas. What is this called? I know you can do it. It's not too far away. You can get in from the outside in just over 2 hours." Wang Wan stuffed Zhang Xiaobao's mouth with a big mountain and said lightly. Zhang Xiaobao was so sour that his whole face scrunched up. Chapter 363. There were many boats coming and going on the Jingshui River, so no one would deliberately pay attention to these boats. When the 3 boats arrived at the intersection of the 2 streams in Dingping County, they followed the instructions and lined up diagonally. The people on the 3 boats also shouted that the boats were broken and so on. They set up springboards and looked messy. The small boats coming from the Luo Shui River were immediately swept away by the current. Fortunately, the people on the small boats reacted quickly. After a few strokes, the small boats spun around and headed downstream of the Jingshui River. After being swept away for more than 1,000 feet, they leaned to the side and looked in shock at the big boats in the distance. When the small boats behind saw this, they all stopped and didn't dare to go in that direction anymore. On a small boat that also stopped, a group of people was drinking at the bow. When they saw the small boat being swept away like a leaf, many of them laughed out loud. Only Mi Fan, who was sitting there and hadn't eaten a single bite, was pale. When the small boat was swept away, he felt his vision darken and couldn't see anything. He only recovered after a while. He wanted to drink some wine to calm his nerves, but found that his hands were trembling so much that he couldn't hold a wine cup. He could only sit there and gasp for breath. "Brother Wei Tong, are you feeling unwell again?" Guo Ran saw Mi Fan's expression and asked with concern. He had been like this since the beginning. Mi Fan and Wei Wei shook their heads. They actually really wanted to persuade the people on the boats to give up on this plan. They had never felt like this before. It was too scary. They didn't know what would happen. But they also knew that it was useless to say anything now. The people on the boats wouldn't listen to them, even if they were very obedient in the past. On the small boats waiting to pass, they already knew the situation in front and started cursing. Why couldn't 3 boats be broken? Why did it have to be that place that was broken? And all of them were broken together. Looking at the flags on the boats, they were from the Jingshui Boat Company. Some of the smarter people immediately guessed that the people on the boats were deliberately doing this. Guo Ran and the others listened to the cursing and didn't care at all. So what if they cursed? They still couldn't pass. Some of the people on the small boats cursed as if they did not know fatigue, especially those who were transporting seasonal vegetables and fruits. Every 2 hours of delay, there was a possibility that some things would rot. However, there was nothing they could do. They could only wait for the 3 boats to leave quickly. Some of the bolder ones who thought they had better skills even tried to move forward. In the end, without exception, they were all swept downstream and obediently leaned against the shore. An hour passed, and the 3 large ships that looked like nothing had happened were still there. The small boats that could have passed by also stopped. The small boats on the Luo Shui River were also next to each other, waiting for the 3 large ships to leave. Ha 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 ha. When they saw the anxious appearances of the people on the small boats that had stopped at Little Luo Shui, the people on the boats once again began to laugh loudly. Mi Fan listened from the side and felt even more irritated. Just as some people were cursing and some were laughing, 6 large ships suddenly appeared from upstream. The people who had just arrived behind the 3 large ships immediately changed their flags to those of the Jingshui Boat Company. The small boats that had stopped to transport goods now thought that the 3 ships that had stopped before were indeed broken, and the ships behind them were coming to help. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so close. However, the merchants on Mi Fan's side were puzzled. Where did the 6 ships behind them come from? Just as everyone was deep in thought, the 6 ships had already stopped there in the same way as the 3 ships in front. They also connected to each other by gangplanks. At the same time, they also connected to the outermost ship of the 3. Someone pulled a metal chain and came out of that ship. While the people on the 3 ships were still in a daze, the 3 ships and the 6 ships were all connected by about 20 metal chains that weren't too thick. You guys are? The people on the 3 ships didn't understand what was going on. One of the ship's leaders pulled on a person who was still nailing the chains and asked. This person raised his head and looked at him impatiently. Listen to orders. You guys are just in charge of blocking the water. In a moment, someone will tell you what to do next. As he spoke, this person had already nailed a few places in front of him that needed to be nailed. He turned around and ran back. The other people who came over did the same. The people on the 3 ships looked at the flags and looked at the clothes these people were wearing. For a moment, they couldn't stop them. They were indeed boat operators. When the people on the 6 ships all retreated, they saw a few small boats being lowered from the ships. The people on the large ships all jumped onto the small boats. Using the current's impact, they disappeared downstream in the blink of an eye. When the last boat was out of sight, the 6 big boats emitted thick smoke one after another. Not long after the thick smoke appeared, the people on the 3 boats saw the flames on the other 6 boats. Quickly cut the chains. When the person in charge of the 3rd ship saw this, he immediately reacted and shouted at the boatmen. Some of the boatmen immediately went to look for tools, but before they could find them, the ship closest to them exploded with a boom and an area was blasted open. The rain of fire fell from the sky. Some inevitably fell on the other ships. The fire was mixed with oil. When it fell on the deck, it began to burn. The wind on the river was strong. The fire ignited the ship closest to them. In addition, the 6 connected ships exploded one after another. The boatmen on the 3 ships didn't care about cutting the chains anymore. They relied on their good swimming skills and jumped off the ships. They were swept downstream by the current. The boatmen were indeed good swimmers. When they were in the water, they didn't stupidly shout for help. They held their breath and rushed forward for a distance. Only then did they reveal their heads to call for help. One by one, they looked back in horror. They saw that the other ships were hopeless. The people on the 3 ships had all jumped off. They watched as the fire engulfed them, but there was nothing they could do. The people on the small boats that passed by were dumbfounded. Mi Fan and the others were also dumbfounded. Fast, it was really too fast. The 6 boats stopped and caught fire in less than a quarter of an hour. Now, when they wanted to look for the people on the boats, they were long gone. How did they get there? What happened? They didn't know. The only thing they knew was that the ships were on fire. 3 of the 6 ships were on fire. How can this be? Where did the ships come from? Why are they using our ship's flag? Guoran, who was in a daze, was the first to react. He looked at the burning ships and shouted loudly. The other merchants also didn't understand. They followed suit and shouted. Once they shouted, their identities were exposed. The surrounding small boats were cursing people. They didn't have a specific target. Now, they found their target. They were the people on the ship. Just like when the ships exploded, the people on the small boats also exploded. They started cursing at the people on the ship. They used the ships to block the other ships and didn't let them leave. After cursing each other for 2 hours, the ships on the other side were completely on fire. It was impossible to save them. After a while, they would sink. Just then, a few fast boats came from downstream. The bailiffs of the manor stood at the bow of the boats. There was also a portion of the manor's soldiers. Once these boats arrived, they began to control the people on the small boats. Mi Fan and the others were no exception. They were also watched by a few people. They didn't let them leave. They didn't ask any questions. They just watched. When the sky gradually darkened, the ships were almost completely burned. Other than the places that were in the water, the rest of the ships were either burned to charcoal or ash. The bailiffs and soldiers of the manor didn't stay idle. They pulled apart the boats and fished up some things from time to time. There were tea leaves, rice, and salt in wooden barrels. As the people under watch waited, the bailiffs and soldiers began to ask one by one, whose ships were these? Why were there salt and tea on the ships? There were even people who went to the places where the fire was still burning. They pushed away the burning planks and spread nets. When the nets were lifted up, there were weapons hanging on them. It wasn't difficult to ask this kind of thing. The boatmen were still there. After asking, they learned that the ships belonged to the Jing Shui Ship Company. Immediately, someone found Mi Fan and the others and asked, "Why are there so many important things on the ships, and even weapons?" "Sir, there's nothing on our ship. It should be the goods from the 6 ships that came after. It has nothing to do with us. Think about it. If it was our ship, how could there be weapons on it? How could it catch fire?" A merchant from the ship company explained and even tried to reason with the person who asked. "But we just asked. The 6 ships that came after also flew your flag. If they weren't your ships, why did they stop there at the same time? Besides, we don't know which ship the things that were fished up were from." This person asked again. The merchant just now could only continue to explain, "Sir, how would we know why they flew our flag? Why did they stop there? Our 3 ships were damaged. That's why they stopped." "Oh, you don't know? That means you don't know them? Then why did you let their people board your ships?" When we asked the others just now, they said that they saw the people from the 6 ships board the ship that was originally here. "Are your ships really damaged? Do we need to ask a few boatmen to come over and explain? It seems that what you said is different." This person asked again and happened to ask something that others couldn't say. This, I suspect that you are colluding with the enemy. Let's wait for the people from the manor to come. Now, no one is allowed to leave. Otherwise, we'll kill. Kill." The moment this person shouted the word, "kill," the other bailiffs and soldiers also shouted at the same time. Chapter 364. Seeing the surrounding soldiers unsheathing their swords and knocking their arrows, the people on the boat were all dumbfounded. They had never expected that things would end up like this. Wasn't it just 3 boats blocking a place? How did they get implicated in colluding with foreign enemies? Who knew where those 6 boats came from? One by one, they started to cry out their grievances. The soldiers were not used to this and scolded them loudly. The merchants became obedient. "Brother Wei Tong, how can you do this? Think of something. We clearly didn't do that." When a merchant was at a dead end, he suddenly saw Mi Fan, who was still sitting there with a pale face. He approached her and asked her for an idea. When others heard his voice, they placed their last hope on Mi Fan. Mi Fan didn't know what to say anymore. Ever since he started feeling unwell, he had always been trying to convince the people on the boat to give up on their plans to deal with the Zhang family. He had even mentioned it twice, but none of the people who thought they were powerful enough listened. Now that revenge had come, was there a need to explain what was going on? He arranged for people to go to the river to cause trouble, scammed them of the details of the sea transportation, and even blocked the entrance. They ignored him the first time, but when they went there, he expressed his goodwill twice. This time, they were angry. Zhongjia Zhuangzi, when he took action, he was furious and wanted to wipe out the entire family. Guo Ren was also anxious at this time. He nudged the silent Mi Fan and said, "Think of something. We usually listen to you. Why aren't you saying anything now?" "What do I say? What do you want me to say? When I told you to let go, which one of you listened? You went to the river and got robbed, thinking that the Zhang family didn't know. You took the sea transportation goods from the Zhang family and thought that they were easy to bully. Think of something, make a decision. Okay, there's a way. Tell the people who are watching us that we're willing to admit our mistakes and compensate the Zhang family with some shipbuilding experts. Go and talk to them. That way we can save our lives. If you don't say it now, it'll be too late. The Zhang family always gives people a way out. Even if you give in at the end, the Zhang family won't be so ruthless. As long as they don't directly deal with the Zhang family, everything can be discussed. Mi Fan was also angry. She slammed the table and stood up. She shouted twice and then sat back down. She muttered in a very small voice. The surrounding people also quietened down and listened. When they heard that Mi Fan didn't say that she was going to look for the people in the manor and instead asked them to compromise with the Zhang family, they all felt that Mi Fan was no longer the Mi Fan of the past. She had become a fool. What did this matter have to do with the Zhang family? Brother Wei Tong, you should take a good rest. Let us handle the things here. A merchant felt that he shouldn't continue to trust Mi Fan. To be polite, he took out 500 strings of coins from his sleeve. He looked around and came to the leader of the prefectural soldiers who were detaining them. What are you doing here? Go back. Be careful not to be shot if you move recklessly again. When the general saw someone come over, his face darkened and he scolded. The merchant who came over smiled. We didn't move recklessly. We just wanted to ask if this matter would affect us. Well, it's not about being affected or not. As long as you tell us clearly, who are you sending the tea leaves, salt, and weapons to, and where are they going? Where did you get the goods? Maybe you can still escape, the general said sternly. The merchants felt bitter in their hearts. How would they know about weapons? It had nothing to do with them, but no one would believe them now. Unless they found the people on the 6 ships and got them to admit it. This method was definitely useless now. Those people would be waiting to be caught. They would have run to God knows where long ago. Handing the flying money over, the merchant said, Sir, we are all legitimate businessmen. How could we do such a thing? Maybe someone else did it and I was implicated. What do you think? The general's eyes swept over the flying money. He instantly pulled back his hand. The flying money disappeared from the merchant's hand. The general said to the merchant, We don't know if it's true or not. You can ask someone else. Go and come back quickly. Yes, I'll go ask now. I'll go now. How could the merchant not understand? He nodded fiercely, turned around, and jumped off the ship that was already docked. He found a direction and ran. When the other merchants saw this, they all had the same idea. They all went up and took out the flying money. They said a few perfunctory words and jumped off the ship. Brother Chen Yuan, it's better to stay. You can't run. Just as Guo Ran followed the others to give the flying money, Mi Fan tried to persuade him again. Guo Ran stopped and looked back at Mi Fan. He said, Mi Fan, you were smart in the past, but if anyone listens to you today, they will be asking for death. If you want to stay, then stay. After saying that, Guo Ran handed over the flying money. He also got a chance to leave. It wasn't that Mi Fan didn't want to, but just as he was about to stand up, his vision went black again. His chest hurt. He didn't know the details, but he knew that if he really left, it would be worse than it was now. Because Guo Ran always listened to him and followed him around, he tried to persuade him to stay. He didn't expect Guo Ran to leave. Almost everyone ran on the shore. Only one person quietly jumped into the water after leaving. He was good at swimming and didn't care about the turbulence of the current. He also used the darkness to swim. The general had received a lot of money, which added up to about 10,000 strings of coins. He looked in the direction that the others had fled and smiled. He then looked at Mi Fan, who was still sitting there and drinking by herself. He walked up and said, Don't you want to ask someone about it? I want to, but I don't have the ability. General, why don't you have a drink with me? It's always lonely to drink alone. Mi Fan picked up a piece of beef head meat and took a bite of garlic. He spoke as he ate. The general was hungry. Seeing that there was only one person left, he sat to the side and picked up the wine that the merchant poured but didn't drink. He drank it all in one gulp. Without using chopsticks, he tore off a roast goose wing and stuffed it into his mouth. He allowed the oil to flow to his chin. He wiped it with his sleeve and said, "You don't have money? It's fine. Let's go." "Haha, no money." "How can I not have money? I have, but I can't spend it." "I have a lot of money and people." "I'm not stupid. You are sent by the Marquis Li Sun, right? This is called loosening the reins to catch them better. When they are caught, they will be guilty even if they aren't guilty. If they aren't guilty, why run?" "Good skill. Those 6 ships have been prepared long ago, right? Hanging our flag, this move is called crossing the sea by deceiving the heavens. First take the side road, then turn back, and then it's Zhou Lang's chain of fire. The 6 ships are loaded with the things you found just now. Shifting the blame to us, this is called making something out of nothing. It's just a little change. We made something out of nothing. After that, the best plan was to escape. If they all ran away, those people would never be found. But this wouldn't be so easy to convict them. After all, a careful investigation of the 6 ships could still find some clues. So, it was to scare us and make us run. Those who ran away, 100 mo braids. Can you tell me, what's the next move?" Mi Fan sat down and didn't run away. His body felt much more comfortable. He thought carefully about what had happened and said to the general in front of him. At the same time, he raised his cup to toast. The general raised his cup in return. He raised his head and drank. He laughed and said, "Boss Mi is indeed not an ordinary person. You actually saw through it. What a pity. It's a pity that Zhang Gon fell for it. What a good joint venture. It was originally a gift for us. Small boats, big ships, haha. It was clearly a test. If we took a step back and agreed, we would have a wide open world. I would like to ask the general, will those people be killed?" Mi Fan now completely understood why he felt so uncomfortable. He fell for a trap within a trap. Actually, it wasn't really a trap. The Zhang family might have known about this a long time ago. They didn't do anything because the connected river did indeed affect the Jingshui business. Therefore, the Zhang family gave them 2 opportunities to work together. They wanted to make up for it. Different from others, Zhangjia Zhuangzi's compensation was that if you agreed, they would compensate you. If you didn't agree, it would be a trap. When they couldn't think of an idea, they gave them an idea. This idea could make them search and destroy their family. The general smiled and helped Mi Fan pour the wine. He said, "Boss Mi is indeed different from others. No wonder the little prince said that you must stay and protect Boss Mi no matter what. Those people won't be killed. Their family will be searched and then exiled. I believe they will still have some money left. Boss Mi, you don't have to worry about them." "Why?" Mi Fan didn't understand. This time, it was the little prince who did it. It wasn't the prince who sent them. If we really investigate carefully, the 6 ships might be found. Scare them a little and let them admit to a crime that won't kill them. I believe they will agree. The general continued to explain. At the same time, he reached out and grabbed some food from the plate. After eating, he rubbed his hands against his body. Mi Fan didn't care whether the general grabbed the food with his hands or chopsticks. His mind was on this matter. When he heard the general's words, he still didn't understand. "Then you're not afraid that I will tell others? Who are you going to tell? From now on, for half a month, you can't move at all. You can only stay on this ship. After half a month, when the dust has settled, you can say whatever you want. Let's see if you have the guts. You have such a big family, and there are so many people. What if something happens?" When the general said this, he laughed. Hearing this, Mi Fan shivered. Fortunately, his body didn't feel so bad anymore. This made him understand that he wouldn't be in any danger for the time being. He asked tentatively, "Then do you want me to do something?" Chapter 365. The next day, the person who came to talk to me Fan was Song Jingong. The two of them talked in the cabin for a full 6 hours. After that, they ate something. The boat turned around and headed for the Lin Shui first family. The others were caught after running for a while. When they returned, they were told that the previous general had been caught, taking bribes and allowing criminals to escape. Originally, they needed more evidence. Now it was simple. If you didn't commit a crime, why did you run? Search. These people were taken to their homes to search. Naturally, their homes were not that clean. For example, there were illegal weapons in the house, cultural relics from other countries in the house, and the house was not built according to the rules. After all these were found out, and the fact that they had escaped proved that they were colluding with the enemy country, these people were taken to the Yamen of Sanshui County in fear. It was not Dingping, nor was it the prefecture. The reason was that they came from the Lin Shui first family in Sanshui County. It was suspected that they had a secret relationship with the Lin Shui first family. The official who interrogated them was not the original secretary Zhao Xiang, but someone sent by the prefecture. This was the result of Li Sun's discussion with his father. When Li Sun's father heard Li Sun's plan, he only said, "Nonsense," and did not care anymore. He had long disliked this Jing Shui boat company. They dominated the Jing Shui River. Every year, their taxes were so little. No matter the year was good or bad, they always found excuses. When there was a drought, they asked them to help transport some food from Sichuan. They also talked about the price, saying that there was little water and the bottom of the boat could be damaged easily. When there was a drought, the price of food elsewhere would increase. This way, there was no need to damage the boat. It also saved them the trouble of raising the price. More importantly, Li Sun's father, the prince, felt that the Zhang family's methods were only revealed when this plan was used. This time, the master taught his son many things. He also taught himself some things. Sometimes, one could give in and show weakness. It was also a trap. The Yamen of Sanshui County began to question the case. It was just like the general who spoke to me Fan. First, they determined that the crime could be exterminated. Then, after the merchants gave them some benefits, they decided that they did not know the details. They changed the sentence from beheading to exile. Most of the goods were confiscated, but they did not continue to investigate what properties the merchants had outside. The status of merchants was not high to begin with, so they did not dare to say much to the authorities. They did not understand those things, but they did run away, so they could only admit to the lighter crimes. They could only confiscate their property, and that was fine. They still had some business outside, so they could live well after being exiled. When they were escorted to the prison cell and sent to the capital, the people on the ship led by Guo Ran regretted it. They now knew the reason why the matter had happened. They had been captured for interrogation because they had left the first house in Lin Shui. However, after sentencing them, the shopkeeper of the first house in Lin Shui was actually fine. "I don't accept this. Didn't the Zhang family rely on a marquis? Otherwise, how could this be? His family's business is so big, but I don't see anyone saying that he is a merchant." A merchant huddled in a corner of the prison cell and muttered there. This position was not bad. There was a place near the wall, and it was also far away from the toilet. Another merchant beside him understood. "Stop complaining. It's useless. The Zhang family's business is not under the name of the main family. They are not merchants, but officials. Why don't we see Marong? Where did he run off to?" "He jumped into the water. When we were running forward, I saw him. He ran upstream of the Luo River. He got into the water as soon as he took off his clothes. Who asked him to be a good swimmer and have so much courage? It seems that he was not caught. We also did not see his family. It seems that he ran quickly and went back to take his family with him. If he was not caught, then he was lucky. When he went to another place, he changed his name. Don't count on the things at home. Use the things that are opened in other places to buy things. Exiles like us are strong. We don't know where we will be exiled to." The merchant who spoke earlier knew quite a lot. When he was running away, he did not forget to look at the others. Guo Ren was the one who felt the most suffocated. When he heard others say that Ma Rong had run away, he said with a gloomy face, "He is usually the most slippery. He didn't even tell us when he jumped into the water. Do any of you know about his business elsewhere? Report it to the authorities and let them deal with him." Everyone shook their heads. Everyone would do this kind of thing. They would never let others know. Even now, they did not know how much wealth the people around them had. And Mi Fan. I don't know where he ran off to. He said that he would not run with us. Maybe he already thought of an escape route. We shouldn't have followed him in the past. At this time, Guo Ren thought of Mi Fan. In the Sanshui Yamen, he did not see Mi Fan, let alone his family. At this time, no one echoed him. Everyone understood that without Mi Fan, they would not have so much money now. Mi Fan had mentioned several times not to go against the Zhang family, but no one was willing to listen. Now, everyone only regretted. If they had listened to Mi Fan, they would not have ended up like this. After saying this, Guo Ren regretted it. Looking at everyone's reaction, he felt that he was being isolated. He hurriedly said, "It's best to be exiled far away. If we all go to the same place, the capital will not be able to control us. We can still do something together." After saying this, he thought that he would be able to get others to agree. In the end, no one made a sound. Some even leaned against the wall in the corner, looking like they were asleep. Guo Ren was treated like this, so he could not say anything more. In the past, when he followed Mi Fan, these people were always so respectful when they saw him. Now they were not. As he muttered Mi Fan's name, he also narrowed his eyes. "Mi Fan, in the future, you will still be in charge of the ship. But you have to sign this contract first. Like we said on the ship, you can't win against the Zhang family. The Zhang family has a powerful master. It will be very easy to deal with you and me." In a pavilion in the middle of the lake behind the little Luo Shui, only Song Jinggong and Mi Fan were there. On the stone table was a contract. Song Jinggong was waiting for Mi Fan to sign it. Mi Fan calmly picked up the contract and scanned it from top to bottom. She asked, "After my son passes the imperial exam, are you really going to let our family leave the Zhang family?" "Of course I won't lie to you. Your son is only 7 this year. Do you think he can pass the exam next year? His age is not enough. When he reaches the right age, he may not be able to pass the exam. Not everyone can be like my master, who can be the first in the village and be the top scorer. When the time comes, what you did for the Zhang family can also redeem this crime. When you go back, don't forget how many skilled craftsmen will send some good ones to the little prince. The Zhang family also has a part of that dock." When Song Jinggong said these words, he did not need others to teach him. He was originally a powerful person. It was just that he met someone more powerful. Usually, when he did things, as long as he had enough capital and someone told him the general idea, he could do the other details by himself. Mi Fan looked at the contract and nodded lightly. She picked up the ink brush beside her and wrote down her name. Then, she pressed her hand on the box of ink and pressed it onto the contract. There were 3 copies. One for the Zhang family, one for Mi Fan, and one for the Sanshui County Yamen. This time, they did not use the sharp-toothed people. After all, there were too many things that they could not let them know. Seeing Mi Fan press her hand, Song Jinggong was relieved. He took out a piece of paper and said to her, "When you go back, it will take about 2 years to build the ship. Then, you can follow the instructions on this. This is part of the details. When you need it, someone will send you the other parts." When Mi Fan heard that it was the details of shipping, she quickly took it and looked at it. After a few glances, she stopped and said, "It's really different. This is the real money, right? The last one, if someone else uses it, whoever uses it will lose money. Do you think the Zhang family is so easy to fool? Also, you have to arrange for the small boat goods to be exchanged with the big ship. Yu Dingping built a dock there. You can put the goods from the small boat or the big ship into the dock's warehouse and then exchange them. Song Jingong liked this kind of thing. Maybe it was because he was used to lying. Every time Zhang Xiaobao made a move, he would watch from the side. It was as if he was also making a move. It was always so easy and useful. Mi Fan thought for a while and said, I know what to do. When the time comes, will Dingping's docks warehouse take up a large part of it? No, we won't interfere there. The state government helped a lot this time. Give most of the benefits to the state government and leave the rest for Dingping. Even Luochuan County has to give some. When you pass by other people's territory, you can't eat alone if you want to get rich. Just like you guys, we've already given you a chance to compensate for the business that Xiaohe stole. Why do you have to fight to the death? The Zhang family is not willing to take the initiative to cause trouble, but they are not afraid of trouble. You guys gave a portion to the state government. How could this happen? Song Jingong had gradually become familiar with the Zhang family's way of doing things. Every time, they would first show enough kindness, but some people would take this as weakness and insist on trying. In the end, not only did they not get any benefits, but they also had to give up something. Mi Fan also understood now. In the past, their boat company did not care about this. They put all their focus on making money. They thought that as long as they could make money, they would take a certain amount of money. The less others earned, the more they earned, and the more successful they would be. Got it. Give it all away and don't keep it for yourself. Mi Fan thought it through. That's right. As long as we build the boat, we can make more money in the future. Don't worry about this small amount of money. The academy between the clouds and the water is about to start recruiting. Why don't you send your son there? You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.